one of the game's all-time great hitters, Miguel Cabrera. He'll be on for the Detroit Tigers tonight. But Bud Norris wants to shut him down. The Orioles lost 2 out of 3 in Detroit, so the effort is to at least return that favor here in Baltimore. The first of 3 division leaders face off next. It's the Orioles on Masson, and here in Birdland tonight, it's the division-leading Detroit Tigers taking on the division-leading Baltimore Orioles. And believe it or not, this is the final series that they're going to play this season, at least in regulation. Hi, everybody. I'm Gary Thorne, and welcome. Right now, we're going to have a rain delay. We'll start with that. They put the tarp out about 45 minutes ago. A little shower went through. Tarp is coming off, so about 7:30 we should be ready to go with this ball game. These two teams have already met. The series was in Detroit. It was a high-flying offensive affair. Take a look at the numbers that were put up in the series, won by the Tigers 2-1. Both teams really hit well. The Tigers with that .333 average, but look at the runs, 18-13 in runs in those 3 games. The Tigers out-homered the Orioles 5-1. It was the Tigers starters, surprise, surprise, who held down the Orioles. The Orioles starters had problems. The Orioles, however, got to the Tigers bullpen, while the Orioles bullpen was better than theirs. So we meet the Tigers. Jim Palmer here, the home field.
Yep. Well, last year the Orioles, they played 6 times. The Orioles win 4. The Tigers only win 2. The Orioles are well aware, Gary, and we know this, and they know it, is that the Tigers are a really good ball club. They went all the way to the championship series, actually lost to the Red Sox 4-2, but you said surprise, surprise, they do have the best starters. We know they can hit. Cabrera had a bad March in April, but now, of course, he's about as hot as anybody. Victor Martinez hitting right behind him. He takes and assumes the role of Prince Fielder, who's now with the Rangers. So, it's a little different ball club, but they can pitch, they can hit. But again, they've lost 3 out of 4, and the Orioles have won 5 out of the last 6. So you got Porcello, he's won 4 in a row. He's 5-1, and Bud Norris for the Orioles has really been pitching well. And
the Tigers also a little different. They're running a little more, so the Orioles are going to keep an eye on that, because under Brad Ausmus, he's freed up some of the base runners, and they're willing to steal, even with Miguel Cabrera at the plate this year, which is really unusual. All right, let's take a look at the Orioles starter who's going to try and shut all of this down, and that is Bud Norris. Never stop improving. It's brought to you by Lowe's.
Well, you can see right here, last year, this was here at Camden Yards, struggled a little bit earlier. This year, very good, has really been pitching well. One of the mantras for him with the new pitching coach, Dave Wallace, and then also Dom Sheedy out in the bullpen is, hey, you have 3 pitches, let's use them. Now, in the first game, it was a little bit different weather. It's going to be in the 80s tonight if the rain leaves. It's probably, you were there, probably maybe 50 degrees.
If you were lucky.
Little bits, if you were lucky. But a very bright and clear day. He threw 15 straight fastballs. Torrey Hunter drove in 5 runs, a 3-run double, and a 2-run home run. So Bud Norris has pitched well. He's used all his pitches, and as Buck Showalter told him after he only used 1 changeup with the wind blowing in 30 miles per hour, you're a golfer. Use the whole bag, not just a 5-iron. So I think he's really learned. And I think the one thing is he's been much more aggressive early on. Even though with runners on, he's just been magnificent. Runners in scoring position, 129, one of the lowest averages in baseball.
So Bud hopes to get the chance here shortly. The starters have not begun to warm up. We are going to have a rain delay. It's about 7:30 when we're going to get this started. We'll be back here to Camden Yards as we await the opener of this series. the Tigers here in Baltimore with the rain delay. 7:30 we're hoping will be our start time for this. The Orioles making yet another roster move today. The same thing that went on last year has begun this year, and that's a rotation of pitchers coming up from the minors. TJ McFarland, who had a strong outing yesterday for the Orioles, but Preston Guillemette has come up, recall from Norfolk. See the numbers he had there. He was acquired from the Cleveland Indians. Buck Showalter impressed with the numbers he has put up in his minor league career.
There's not going to be many of these 24 pitchers that are here tonight that have a better minor league resume than he does. I'm sure y'all have looked at it. And he's carried it over there. So, he's only had really, one transition to the big leagues, one opportunity. So, we were fortunate, hopefully, to trade for him. Got a pitcher like that with that background with options are hard to find.
So the Orioles have another new face out there in the bullpen.
Well, he's not that new. I mean, but he had 20 saves last year at AAA. So if you've been watching Oriole baseball the last couple of years, not only when Buck Showalter's here, but Dan Duquette, they're going to make moves that you're always trying. And this is, when we look at the 40-man roster and some of the other guys that have been on and off that 40-man roster, you're looking with a lot more depth. We used to, when you go down, you'd have a guy that didn't do well. You're hoping he's going to come to the big leagues and do well. So again, it's McFarland saves the bullpen yesterday. Guillemette can come up. He's got some experience to pitch. I don't think he's going to pitch in a closing role here, but again, he's a guy that can maybe pitch the 6th or 7th inning because you're pretty happy the way Darren O'Day's been lights out. So again, bullpen just kind of settling it down, and we'll see what happens next week.
TJ McFarland going down. Buck Showalter said he's going to start down there, and Showalter said before the game tonight, we still look at him as a possible starter for the future, and that's what McFarland's going to do at AAA. All right, they're putting the tarp away. Field will be prepared. Should be ready to go at about 7:30. That's when we will come back here at Camden Yards to get this one going. The Tigers and the Orioles in Game 1. A rain delay for the moment. Enjoy this. We'll be back. welcome back to Camden Yards as we get set for this opener. The Detroit Tigers and the Orioles ready to go in game one. Rain delay. We had a brief shower as passed through. It's a beautiful evening right now. A big crowd on hand. There is Rick Porcello. He will be making the start for the Tigers. And Bud Norris will be on the mound for the Orioles as you see both of them warming up. So about ready to go. Gary Thorne, Jim Palmer, and welcome back, everybody. Starters did not get going because of the rain, so they didn't have to start and stop, Jim, so they're all set.
Well, that's what the delay was all about. I think probably could have started a little bit early, but you got to get the guys their warm-up time to get to the mound, get out to the bullpen and whatever. And you mentioned something in the opening that this is the last series that the Orioles will be playing the Tigers unless the postseason. But it almost has that atmosphere. The Orioles have won 8 out of 11. The Tigers have won after winning 8 in a row, 9 out of their last 12. Both of them got roughed up by the Twins in Minneapolis. The Orioles weekend before last lost 2 out of 3. The Tigers just lost 2 out of 3. But there's a little bit special feel. I think basically because both of these clubs know that they're both really good baseball teams.
And they could see each other again in the postseason. I mean, that would not be a surprise if that happened. The Tigers right now tied for the biggest lead in the division. They've got a 5-game lead in their division. The Orioles are a game and a half ahead of the New York Yankees in this rough and tumble start to the East. But I think you're absolutely right, Jim. I mean, with the talent they've got from different directions, they could very well meet somewhere in October.
Well, every once in a while in the Central Division, you get a team like Cleveland last year won 92 games. It came out of nowhere. They really played well against both the Twins and the White Sox. They won their last 10 games of the season. But the Tigers kind of know this. Okay, if we just do what we do and we can stay healthy, very like some of the clubs that I played on, you figure you're going to get to the postseason. Now the Orioles know, even though the East has kind of got off to a very balanced. Red Sox finally got over 500. You just got to figure out when you play teams like the Tigers, you got to prove you are a really good baseball team, and they've been able to do that.
Well, one of the reasons the Orioles are where they are right now is certainly Nick Markakis. His play continues outstanding in the outfield, a Gold Glover, but also comes into the ball game with a streak of 18. That is the longest in the American League and the second longest in Major League Baseball so far this season. His career high is 19, so he'll try and equal that tonight. And Jim, we've seen Nick Markakis just spraying the ball all over the field, and if you get it in his spot, he'll drive it with power.
Well, he had a couple of home runs the week before last, so it's 20 out of his last 24 base hits have been singles, but he does use the whole field. He's healthy, and that's the most important thing. He had the broken thumb 2012, and then last year he hurt his back in spring training. Also had the Hammond bone in 12, so he really wasn't the Nick Markakis. But all you have to do is go to the Tampa Bay, where the Orioles win 3 in a row down there. That's not easy to do, even though they're having some pitching problems in Tampa. But one of the big plays is the play he made in right field. So it's not only about the bat. He's a Gold Glove right fielder. This is a free agent year, or at least an option year, where they'll have to pick up the option. And I think he wants to stay in Baltimore.
Yeah, and look, it does clearly have an impact. It's human nature. When you know next year you're going to be out there vying for a new deal with whoever it may be, you want to have the best numbers you can have. And it's one of the reasons I've said since spring training, Jim, the Orioles getting Nelson Cruz was such a no-brainer move and a great move by the Orioles, because you've got a guy who's trying to do the same thing.
Well, you're right, and I think and we've already seen it with depth factor. Chris Davis leads the world in home runs with 53, 138 RBIs. He has the oblique pull. He misses a couple of almost to the day, the 15 days, and Cruz is here to pick it up. I mean, he had 7 home runs, 25 RBIs in the month of April. Hit one of the longest balls I've seen up in Minnesota. In fact, I was trying to describe it. Where would it have been here at Camden Yards? So, and then all of a sudden now Matt Wieder's down with the ligament problem in his elbow. So you need depth. The Orioles have it. The Tigers certainly have it, even though they're a little bit short at shortstop because of the Iglesias injury. But again, the Orioles, they got to like where they are. 5 games over 500, even though they haven't played probably as well as they think they will, but still very much in the mix, actually leading the American League East.
And they've continued to play a strong defense. They will come into the ball game tonight third in defense fielding percentage-wise, and they've done that just now for the first time, getting what they thought would be their starting infield on the field at the same time.
Well, they set the all-time record. I was talking to Rod Allen with the Tigers, a former player, and he said, didn't he set the all-time record? I said, actually, Tampa did too, but the Orioles, I mean, the least amount of errors ever in a 162 game schedule. So Manny Machado's back. He won the Platinum glove, which is the best Gold Glover, and I think they're very happy that he's back. You got to remember he did hit 51 doubles last year.
And they'll have Hardy and Scope and Davis back in the lineup for the ball game tonight. Orioles are taking the field. We're about set to go with Game 1 after the rain delay. We'll be back to take a look at the lineups here at Camden Yards. By Southwest Airlines. Find Southwest Airlines fares online only at southwest.com. And by Chapin Davis. Chapin Davis providing investments that can produce income from your retirement plan. Call to learn more at 800-222-3246 or at chapindavis.com. A lot of blue sky showing up after the shower went through. Take a look at our train. Game time temperature really warmed up around the Baltimore area today, and humidity up as well. Visit trainsearch.com to find your train comfort specialist dealer. It is hard to stop a train, really hard. And here's the starting lineup for the Detroit Tigers. 21-12 coming in. Kinsler, Hunter, and Cabrera. Victor Martinez, who's red hot. Jackson, Castellanos, Avila, Romine, and Raja Davis. And Torrey Hunter, what a series he had against the O's.
Yeah, take a look at Bud Norris. The Orioles acquired him at the trading deadline from Houston last year. So they're your fastballs. And again, that's a pretty good percentage. Maybe a couple of ticks up. The breaking ball, he has a curveball, but very rarely throws it. It's mostly sliders. And then the changeup, he's using it more in a sense, I think, only because he's throwing it for strikes. It's about the same percentage as last year. There are the numbers. And then when you talk about how he's done against the Tigers, it was all about Torrey Hunter, the second start of the game Saturday afternoon. The Orioles, they got out the Tigers put 17 runs in those first two games on, and then Tillman beat Verlander 3-1. But Bud had 1.15 straight fastballs, so I think he'll probably mix them up a little bit more tonight.
Bud Norris' lifetime is 0-2 against the Detroit Tigers, a high 7.41 ERA against them. This will be his 5th career start against the Tigers. Tigers with that 5-game lead in their division. They finished up a 7-game homestand Sunday, losing to the Minnesota Twins by a score of 4-3. Brad Ausmus, their first-year manager, I thought put well about Brad. Look, he knows he took over a very good baseball team. He's just kind of staying out of the way, doing what needs to be done, to get him on the field, but he says they know how to play. And that's probably about where he is this season with this Tiger team.
Yeah, and he certainly, with Kinsler leading it off, I mean, he brings power. He, maybe not the greatest defensive second baseman. Fonte, who went over to Kansas City, we'll see him later in the week. Maybe a better defensive player, even though Infante hit over 300 for him last year. But Kinsler, a very dynamic player with a bat.
Very. So Kinsler will lead it off. He's reached safely in 28 out of 33. He will take the pitch for a ball from Bud Norris. Kinsler's had 15 multi-hit games already, tied for third in the American League, and he's big number, 332 lifetime against the Orioles. Norris with a 1-0 pitch. That'll be down to third. Manny Machado in the big hop. Plenty of time, and we'll get the out. Good jam shot by Norris.
We'll take a look at our defense, sponsored by Chevrolet. Cruz, Jones, and Markakis. Jones with Gold Glove. Same with Nick out in right field. Machado, Hardy. Machado won the Platinum Gold Glove. Hardy with back-to-back Gold Glovers. Scope, Davis, and then Steve Clevenger doing the catching behind Bud Norris.
Orioles third in defense in the American League coming in. And here is Torrey Hunter. Talked about what he did against the Orioles. There isn't anything he didn't do in that first series. 6 for 12, 3 home runs and 3 RBIs. I mean, 7 RBIs. He was just a one-man wrecking crew in Detroit. Against Bud Norris, he's 3 for 9 with a home run. 1-0 delivery to him, right into the shift. Scope perfectly positioned for the out.
Yeah, he hits a bullet, just a little slider. And I ran into Torrey today, and he said the 5 RBIs, both of them came to double with 3 men on, and the home run were all in fastball. So what does he do? He throws him the slider, and he gets it to hit it right as one of his infielders. Perfectly positioned.
That will bring up Cabrera. Certainly one of the all-time greats already, even while he continues to play. You see March and April, the 277, 2 home runs for him. He felt he was off, that he wasn't on yet. So in May, he's up to 325, 3 home runs, 14 RBIs. He's 14, the most in May in the majors. Cabrera's got a 2 for 9 lifetime off Norris. He is the best among active players against the Orioles. I mean, you see the 291 number he's put up this year. His career number against the Orioles is 395. And we're talking about 185 at bats in 48 games.
Yeah, 17 of those home runs. And then in the 48 games, he's got 47 RBIs.
Amazing.
Yeah. Watch him on Saturday against the Twins at home. Both Victor Martinez, who's on deck, and Miguel Cabrera hit home runs, and he just took a cutter up all over the plate and flicked it into the right field seats. So tremendous power to all fields.
Orioles will play the shift on in the infield. 2-0 delivery to him, and Norris will get that in there for a strike. As you would expect, Norris is facing a Detroit team which offensively is an absolute powerhouse. With this middle of the lineup they've got, with Hunter batting second, for goodness sake, Cabrera, Martinez, Jackson. I mean, that's some big stuff in the middle part of the order that can do some damage. 2 ball, 1 strike delivery to Cabrera, and that will miss outside, and the count goes to 3-1. There's what you were talking about, Jim.
Well, you can't pitch him any particular way. Alfredo Simon, he tried to go up and in about 96 miles per hour a couple of years ago when he was pitching for the Orioles, and Cabrera hit it about 450 feet to left center field, and it was, it was one of those pitches you say, hey, it wasn't really that bad till it landed.
Got him on the pop-up, left shallow right again. Scope coming over, and he'll make the play in a solid inning. So Bud Norris gets through it 1, 2, 3. The Orioles lineup led by Markakis when we come back. watching from beautiful Bel Air, Maryland, the county seat of Hartford County, known as the heart of Hartford, and all part of Birdland. Great to have you with us here for the opener against the Tigers. And here's the starting lineup brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Their fares online only at southwest.com. Markakis, Machado, Jones, Davis, Cruz, and Hardy. Clevenger, Young, and Jonathan Scope. Last 5, Adam Jones heating up with the long ball.
And Rick Porcello trying to make it 5 in a row. He's 5-1. You can see the fastball. He's put 80 balls in play this year, 50 of them on the ground. So he throws some breaking balls. You talked to his pitching coach, Jeff Jones. He said, and he's only 25. He said the big difference is the secondary pitches. Change up, a little cutter. He throws more of a curveball versus the slider. So you can see he doesn't walk hardly anybody. And again, lefties have a little bit better chance, 3-1 in the home run department. So we're actually righties hit the more home runs, but the average higher for the lefties. So he's a ground ball guy, still looking to win here at Camden Yards. 0-3 lifetime. And there is Jeff Jones. I mean, it's amazing that he's again now in his 5th year, and he's only 25 years old.
He has already beaten the Orioles this season in that series in Detroit. He went 6 2/3, a run on 3 hits in that ball game. Nick Markakis leading it off for the Orioles as Nick tries to reach his career high, match it at 19 consecutive games in which he would have a hit. He comes in with 18 consecutive and pumping the average up at 317. And a check swing will be fouled off. This is a pretty good number right here.
I guess so. Well, and again, I mean, a lot of them singles, but that's fine. I mean, if you watch him in batting practice, a little different stance, maybe a little more spread out. But what he does, he tries to stay on top of the baseball. So, and by doing that, you can still hit some line drive because you backspin the ball, and you can also hit some home runs that way.
356 is average during the streak, and he will take the pitch inside for a ball. He has done well against Porcello. He's 9 for 21 with a home run lifetime against the Detroit pitcher. So Nick's got somebody out there. He's seen the ball pretty well off. 1 ball, 2 strike delivery. Porcello went away off the end of the bat to short. Romine will make the play. Markakis is retired.
Well, let's take a look at the Tigers defense, and it's a little bit more mobile than last year. Davis, Jackson, and Hunter. Of course, Hunter with 9 Gold Gloves out in right field. Castellanos, Romine, Kinsler, Cabrera moved from 3rd to 1st because Prince Fielder went down to the Rangers, and then Alex Avila, very good defensive catcher, doing the catching.
And that will bring up Manny Machado, the Orioles' 3rd baseman. He had a 3 for 12 against the Tigers in the series of a year ago, and the pitch will be taken down low for a ball for Manny. Over the last 4 games against the Tigers, numbers been up there. 1-0 count on him, just now starting to get some at bats piled up since coming off the DL. That will go to second base. Kinsler will make the play over to Cabrera, 2 down.
Yeah, it reminds me of a former Tiger that was one of the best, and that was Mark Fidrich, the Bird. It seemed like when you pitched against Fidrich, especially in Tiger Stadium with the overhangs and all that, it was a ground ball to Whitaker, ground ball to Trammell, and that's what Porcello can do. Pleasure to play behind when you're a defensive player.
So 2 down and nobody on, and here is Adam Jones. Adam coming in, having hit successfully in the last 6. Porcello's delivery to him will be up high for a ball. For Adam, he is 3 for 21 lifetime off the Detroit Tiger right-hander. Porcello has had a decision in all 6 starts. So as his record is 5-1, that is the Tigers' record, obviously, when he starts. And the pitch is taken at the knees for a strike. Porcello only 25 years old, 13-8 last year. Pronounced difference between home and road so far this year, but limited numbers. 1-1 delivery, and that's going to be a ground ball. Castellanos throw in the dirt. Nice play, Cabrera. They get the out. Boy, that was a close play, and Adam Jones is arguing about it with the crew chief, Bob Davidson. Now Buck Showalter is making his way out, so the Tigers will stay on the field. as we await to see whether or not there's going to be a challenge on this play.
And he's out.
The umpire again has it right. Amazing. To the naked eye, that play looked much closer than that.
Well, Castellanos at third doesn't have a strong throw, so he ends up bouncing it. But is the ball in the glove? And it is. And the foot not even close to coming down. And of course, the procedure is Buck will come out. He'll wait for the replay to either affirm or not, and you go from there.
No challenge.
Nope.
Cabrera looked at Jones and says, "Gotcha." In this first of three against the Tigers. Tomorrow night will be game 2. Adam Jones smiled at Cabrera as Cabrera turned around to him after the video look, and Buck Showalter saying no challenge. And Cabrera said, "Gotcha." We go to the second inning. Norris will take on Martinez, Jackson, and Castellano, the third baseman. 9-pitch first inning for Bud. Very effective to get out of that one. The Orioles starter here at home had some couple of starts this season, 1-0 and a .73 earned run average so far this season in ball games here. He faced Toronto and Pittsburgh here, beat Toronto, a game the Orioles won 2-1. He was non-decision in that game, and the other one against Pittsburgh he won game 1 of the doubleheader. 5-1 win for the Orioles, and in that one he worked 5 1/3.
Yeah, the amazing number is only 49%. I know it's something you talk about, and I was always taught, try to get the first guy out. 49%.
That is so low.
Porcello's at 71.
And you still win ball games. That's pretty amazing.
Well, you made a great point. I mean, Victor Martinez is not going to be stealing bases, but the Tigers in 2013 stole 35 bases. They already, with Raji Davis coming over, and he's got 12 of them, 30 out of 40. So
they are not hesitating to run. That's just a new weapon added. Martinez, who's been red hot, he'll take the pitch inside. Switch hitter in a lineup loaded with right-handed batters. Only a couple of switch hitters, Martinez and Romine, in the lineup, and in fact only one, Martinez. Romine not. So they're a ball club that's really got everything going from the right side of the plate. He's hitting .452 right, .283 left. And he will foul that one off.
There are already a couple of 0-2 home runs, so this is the number, and it ended on May 6th, but kind of following it, Matt Albers struck him out of Houston on May 22nd, 2013, and then Cozart got him, and he said, if I knew that I had this streak, I probably would have swung at the pitch. But that's 154 games, 597 at bats.
It's amazing. Contact hitter, and he plows that one away. And a 2-ball, 2-strike count. Martinez, of course, batting behind Cabrera, and doing so, the 8 home runs. He's picked up 7 intentional walks and only 6 strikeouts. since sitting behind Cabrera in the lineup. Miguel in the number 3 spot, and Martinez batting cleanup. Here's the 2-2 delivery, and he'll punch that one to right. Good pitch by Norris again. Markakis gets it. One away. Win a meet and greet with Buck Showalter from Masson. Just text Masson's word of the day, relief, to 29292 for your chance to win. That's relief to 29292.
And Buck hopes he doesn't need relief until maybe the 8th inning. That would be very nice.
All right.
Or maybe later.
Or later. Or not at all. Here's Austin Jackson.
You've been affected by this rain delay.
Inside
I'm
by
a little
half.
concerned about you.
Complete game. What am I thinking? 0-1 count on Jackson. One of their speedsters. 9-game hit streak. 307 during the streak. And the pitch will be taken inside. In center field. Moved down in the lineup a little bit. Hitting in the middle of it now. With Kinsler and Hunter moved up. Against Bud Norris, a couple of hits and 3 at-bats. Orioles infield will shade, playing him to pull. Another jam shot. That was foul tipped into the mitt. He didn't intend for that to happen. Bat meeting ball on that one, and a 1-2 count.
Yeah, a lot of the pitches away in that first game against, and this one he just runs it in. He's trying to hold up. And they called it, I think, a foul tip. I don't know if it hit it, but certainly made a really good pitch with good velocity.
Yeah. Norris gets the strikeout.
So we've seen a number of really well-located fastballs. This is going to be 95. You can see Clevenger. I mean, he really presents the glove well. Look at it. You try to hit it. That's a good way to encourage James Hoy, the home plate umpire, into calling it. So perfect location, great velocity. The same thing he did to Victor Martinez to get the lazy fly ball to right field.
So there are quickly 2 outs here in the second inning. Castellanos up, and he will take the pitch for a strike. Looking to get that spot at third base settled, and Nick Castellanos appears to be the one. According to the scouts, not an overpowering arm, not tremendously fast at third base, quickness-wise, but somehow he's one of those guys who makes plays. He gets the job done at third. They like what they're seeing there, and they like the potential, at least, for the bat.
And we'll see again as he swings through a couple of sliders. I mean, Brad Ausmus certainly understands. He played 18 years. Can you hit the going away slider? It takes some practice.
Not that time. 2 strikeouts, 6 in a row, retired, and in a hurry by Bud Norris for the Orioles. It'll be Chris Davis leading it off. Joseph Singleton of the Coast Guard being recognized by the fans between innings here as members of the military are recognized each night. And he gets some kudos from the folks both around him and in the ballpark.
And just imagine how special.
Look at our Maryland Lottery contestant of the game, Peter Anderson from Forest Hill. $500 for being selected. You get $500 more for every Orioles home run tonight. Play the Orioles scratch off from the Maryland Lottery for your chance to be a contestant of the game. Win a trip to see the O's play at Wrigley or MLB World Series. Learn more at mdlottery.com/Orioles.
Well, Peter Anderson happy that Chris Davis back in the lineup and hoping that Porcello doesn't have the sinker going, even though he threw 3 ground balls in the first inning.
Chris has had 3 home runs off Porcello. He is 5 for 15 with 3 homers off the Tigers starter. Big shift put on against him, and the pitch is taken for a ball. Chris has hit safely in 11 of his last 12, coming back off the DL, of course. Yesterday, 11-12 versus Detroit, including 6 multi-hit games in that span against the Tigers. Towering fly ball the other way. Rajah Davis taking a look, but that's going to end up in the seats.
Yeah, so the Blue Jays, 2 out of 24 at bats, and I'm not sure Porcello. I mean, Porcello certainly can get you out a lot of different ways, but what they were trying to do before the oblique injury was to just try to run the ball in on him. You know, and then go away soft. I mean, that's one of the old classic high and tight, low and away.
Got that one in. He drives the ball to center. Jackson. He's got it. And 1 down here in the second inning. Celebrate summer at Oriole Park by picking up the new Birdland Summer 6-pack. You'll get a ticket to 6 games of your choice, up to 20% off the cost of single-game tickets. You can lock in your seats now for the best games and promotions of the summer and save. Go to Orioles.com/6-pack or 888-848-BIRD. Moon coming through with the high clouds. What a very pleasant night here at the ballpark. Very gentle breeze, if at all, blowing out a little bit towards the left. Here's Nelson Cruz, and the pitch is taken for a ball. Cruz will be followed by Hardy. Porcello's pitch and a swing and a miss on the slider that was down and away. Porcello comes in with a 66-51 lifetime mark. 2 wins, 5 losses in his career against the Orioles. 1-1, got one in, line drive right to short. Romine right there, and there are 2 down. Here's another one of the hitters that Porcello's had some trouble with, and that's Hardy.
Yeah, I think the one thing, of course, JJ has yet to hit a home run, more home runs than any shortstop in baseball the last 3 years. So certainly like to get back on track. He said, you know, the interesting thing about not hitting any home runs, I probably won't unless I hit one. So that's undisputable logic. So I said, there you go.
There is no way you can argue with that.
No.
If you set that up as a debate issue, you lose right away. I mean,
well, the key is, of course, to hit home runs without trying.
Yeah,
I mean, because then you have the quality at bats, use the whole field, which he's done.
JJ's got a 5-game hit streak coming in. Porcello's given up only 3 home runs. Hardy with a 7 for 17 off Porcello. Straight up in the infield and outfield. Down to third and foul. One ball, 2 strike count with 2 down and nobody on. There you see the defense. Outfield pretty deep, especially in right. Hunter's got that gap covered. He's given him the whole right field line. JJ will go the other way to the other gap. That's going to fall in. Because Hunter was over, he'll hold him to a single.
Yeah, that's kind of unusual because he really doesn't drive the ball that way. But you make a great point. If the 9-time Gold Glover, even though he won those Gold Gloves in center field, if he's not playing this deep, this slider that he really stays on. I mean, that's just the quality at bat. That's the ball just really tracks it to the outside part of the plate and then pings it into right center field, or it probably would have been a double.
So Hardy is on. The Orioles have their first hit off Porcello, and that will bring out Clevenger. Clevenger with that 262. It is his 12th start. With Matt Wieters out, fouls it away. No idea when Matt will be back. 15-day DL because of the elbow, hoping to avoid surgery. He will travel with the ball club to help the catchers. Clevenger, Caleb Joseph, as far as preparing for games. But Matt's not going to do anything baseball-wise, throwing or swinging the bat. And Buck Showalter said yesterday his hope was he'd be back July 1. Here's the 0-1 delivery on the way, and the pitch will be taken for a strike. Take a look at our Jeep Inside the Numbers.
Well, there you go. With runners on, all of a sudden, in fact, you had the two best teams with runners in scoring position. The Orioles at number 1, at 284, and the Tigers right behind them at 281.
Porcello's just the opposite of Norris in that department. 0-2 count to Clevenger. Runner going nowhere. For Porcello, when the bases are empty, it's a 235 average. If anybody's on, 286. If it's scoring position, 320.
Yeah, it's high.
And Norris has got exactly the opposite.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, that's the amazing thing. It's 174 with runners on, and then 129 with runners in scoring position. Incredibly low number for Bud Norris.
1-2 delivery. That'll be down the line the other way. Roger Davis going over. He's in the corner. It's tough play. Can't get it. Ball just fell at his feet. On the run, Hardy. He's going to come to the plate. No throw, and he scores. RBI double for Clevenger, and the Orioles have a 1-0 lead.
Yeah, Gary, they play him out in left center. And so they just figure that maybe a step or two to pull. So this ball, I mean, it's hit pretty well, but right down the line, and Roger Davis has to go a long, long way. And he gets there just about when the ball arrives, and it just goes over his head. And he doesn't have a lot of arm strength, and that's going to be the key to this game. The ball just kind of hits the bottom of the cushion, and then here comes Hardy, and he didn't get a great jump, doesn't have world-class speed, but the relay throw is bobbled. Otherwise, it might have been bang-bang at the plate.
So the Orioles, Clevenger comes through with RBI number 6, and Wheels Hardy scores. He's been pumping. That's 2 days in a row now. He's come all the way around from first base. 2 out of 3 days.
Well, when we were discussing his lack of home runs, I said, boy, you were fast the other day. I said, I'm really fast in a straight line.
See?
Fortunately, you don't run bases in straight lines.
So fouled off by Young.
I mean, really, if you think of, Clevenger gets him in. JJ, you got to know what you are and what you aren't. And he knows.
Yeah. But with 2 down, he gets the jump. We talk about that all the time.
Yeah, he's running all the way, try to get that good secondary lead.
Bobby Dickerson waving him around, and he never hesitated. And the Orioles have a run on a couple of hits. Here is Young, designated hitter. Why him tonight? How about a 364 average against Porcello with a home run? And the pitch is bounced in the dirt, and a 1-ball-1-strike count. Now Clevenger coming through for the Orioles. He has hit well against the Tigers now. In the last 5 of 6 games he's been in against Detroit, he is 6 for 16. He'll be held at second by Kinsler. 2 down, another 2-out RBI for the Orioles. Young the DH, and he'll chop it to short. Romine had a weight on it, high throw, and he's going to be safe. You could see that one coming.
Yeah, and it's fine if you play the hop. Shortstops have more of a luxury to do that. Mike Bardick should certainly tell us about that. But there's the backup, and this is fine if the throw's not high, and it is. And as big as Cabrera is, he's got to go up for it. And as he's coming down, Delman Young will make it first and third on the error by the shortstop.
So the Orioles have runners at first and third. And that will bring up Jonathan Scope. That'll be an error charged on the throw. 22nd error of the year against the Tigers. Scope with a 5-game hit streak. Only faced Porcello a couple of times 0 for 2. But Jonathan has been one of the better Orioles as far as picking up 2-out hits and RBIs this season. Been hitting around the 400 mark.
Yeah, and then you can see the overall number at 308. And that's about, 60 points higher than his normal batting average.
Let's see if he can get it done here. Delivery to Jonathan. That'll be in the dirt. Nice stop made by Avila. And the count will go to 2-0. So Porcello having a tough inning. Over there is Clevenger, who picked up that double in the RBI. Young on at first, reaching on the error.
Well, let's see if the extra out will really pay off for the Orioles. Because that error by Romine, that's exactly what it does. It gets scoped to the plate.
2-0 delivery on the way. Jonathan, a broken bat bloop. This is going to be a tough play. It's a race to first base. And got it. Porcello down on one knee, but he was able to come up with it and keep it under control. And another close play at first, and Scopes retired. Porcello had it in the glove, and then trying to avoid being stepped on, kind of leaned down on his knee. The Orioles, however, will pick up a run on 2 hits. They leave 2 on base. There was an error, and the Orioles have the lead. Ball on Masson is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Find Southwest Airlines fares online only at southwest.com. By Coons, when you're talking cars, you're talking Coons. And by AT&T, mobilizing your world. The bird delivers. Gary Tharja Palmer with you. The Orioles out to the early lead in the ball game. J.J. Hardy coming around to score on the double by Clevenger. Now back to work defensively. Bottom third of the order against Norris.
Now he's getting used to that. That's what won the game the other night.
Yep.
Clevenger up. Hardy at first. Double into the corner.
Orioles have had great production from players who weren't supposed to be playing every day here in the first 6 weeks of the season. Avila has gone 0 for 8 against Norris. He'll be followed by Romine and Raja Davis. Shift is put on, and he will take the pitch down low for a ball. Avila has had his problems against the Orioles, a career 196 hitter against the O's, and has only 1 hit against the Orioles in his last 23 at bats against Baltimore. Fouls that one off the other way, and a 1-1 count.
Yeah, if you've been watching Alex hit over the last couple of weeks, and he's been a lot better this month than he was in April. The last 17 games, up over 260 at 264. He's hit the ball the other way, using the whole field. And of course, ran into him today, and all he said was, last year he had a really miserable first half. Hit 177. He said, just kind of relaxed and figured, let's try to get to the playoffs. My job is to catch.
And he does that.
Yeah, he really does a nice job of that. He's got a terrific, especially the starting staff, is just about as good as you can get.
He leads the American League, 12 runners caught stealing. 1 ball, 2 strike count. Bud Norris's delivery to him, and that will be inside. These two teams have matched up so evenly over the past few seasons. They have split their last 50 head-to-head ball games going back to 2008 in the All-Star break. Their last 18 meetings in Baltimore split right down the middle, each team winning 9. And a timeout asked for at the plate. If you look at the series numbers for these two teams, the Orioles won it last year 4-2, but the years before that 3-3, 5-5, and 5-5. Two ball, 2 strike count. Norris was ready to deliver in that last time up. And that one will miss inside. Full count.
Yeah, when we look at Bud Norris and go back to that only 49% of a leadoff hitter, that 2-2 pitch is critical. So again, as good as his fastball's been tonight, he didn't throw it. Now all of a sudden, even when you get to 3-2, I always felt that that's just a better chance of maybe you make a good pitch, the umpire misses it, or you're trying to be too fine. But now you got to throw it more for the middle of the plate instead of using that same pitch 2-2, and then all of a sudden trying to read the bat. So I think we saw even with Chris Tillman yesterday, who's really pitched well, but the last two starts, the home run by Longoria, the 3-run home run by Castro, using all his pitches too early. Sometimes you don't have to use them all. What do you do second, third time through the order when you really get in trouble?
Leadoff batter here in the third inning, 3-2 again, and he got him. Norris 3 strikeouts, 3 in a row.
Yeah, 94 with good movement. Watch this ball start in the middle of the plate and then run to the outside corner. And Avila just trying to steer it into left field, make contact, couldn't do it.
This Tiger team offensively, they are first in average, 5th in runs. They are 11th in home runs in the league. They have a good on base percentage, even though they don't draw a lot of walks. And of course, as you would expect from their pitchers, tremendous. That's what gets them wins. See the team ERA second, starter ERA is first. They get it done with a well-balanced ball club.
Yeah, their starter ERA about a run and a half better than the Orioles. So come on, Bud Norris. That'll even it up.
That will. 1 ball, 1 strike count. Romine taps it foul. Norris already has 3 strikeouts. This Detroit team has struck out the fewest of any team in the American League coming into the ball game. And generally, they put the ball in play. Romine, he went 1 for 7 in the series earlier in Detroit. 1 ball, 2 strike count. And thought about the pitch up high, 94-mile-an-hour fastball.
Yeah, you have the 2 teams that walked the least in the American League playing here in Baltimore tonight. One of those 15th out of 15 teams in the American League, and the Tigers at 14th.
Come in swinging, and a strike called. Norris, wow, 4 Ks in a row.
Well, it's nice to be on your game and then get an umpire that'll expand the zone a little bit. I mean, this ball well off the corner. James Hoy, he's in the moment right there. He runs them out, and that ball probably, about an inch and a half off the corner. But again, part of the whole formula, can you get it somewhere around the catcher's glove? And he's able to do that.
So there are 2 down, and here is Raja Davis. Davis, the speedster, hitting 9th, playing in left field. He will bunt for a base hit if given a chance. Against the Orioles, he had a 3 for 6, a homer, 4 RBIs in that initial series. Not a home run hitter is Davis. He's got a couple on the year. Scored 14 runs for them and a chopper. Jonathan Scope. Perfect timer. You got him through the order. 9 retired, including 4 strikeouts by Bud Norris. The Orioles up 1-0. Camden Yards on this Monday night. The Detroit Tigers in town. Bud Norris out there on the mound to take them on, and has retired all 9 batters he's faced, throwing some strikeout balls. Orioles giving him a chance to get the lead. Hardy, Clevenger combining. Clevenger the double RBI. Hardy scored, and it's 1-0. And all of that came with 2 down in the second inning. We go to the bottom half of the third. Orioles back to the top of the order, and Nick Markakis. Nick grounded out his first time up. Nick has hit safely now in 21 of his last 22, including the 18 in a row. Porcello's delivery to him, and the pitch up, and a 1-0 count on Markakis. Nick's had good numbers against Detroit in his career, a .290 hitter against the Tigers, and 8 career home runs against them. And that pitch is laid in there by Porcello, 1-1. With the Detroit Tigers having that 5-game lead, that is tied for the biggest lead in baseball. The Brewers lead the Cardinals by 5 as well in the Central of the National League. Backhanded by Cabrera, the flip. Porcello covering, gets the out. Tomorrow you can celebrate Birdland's newest slugger as the fans here for the Orioles-Tigers game at 7:05 will get the Nelson Cruz Orioles t-shirt. Cruz is the word, and that's what's on the t-shirt. Plus, every Tuesday is Ollie's Bargain Night presented by Ollie's Bargain Outlet. All upper reserve seats $9 in advance. To get yours, 888-848-BIRD or Orioles.com. Americano leaning on that right hip that he fell on, making that defensive play, or his hand.
Yeah, he just kind of tumbled to his right, plugged up the gap.
Showing bunt, taking the pitch for a strike. Manny Machado grounded out his first time up.
Well, pretty much other than the 1 run, I mean, only 1 ball put in the air, and that was Chris Davis, fly ball to center.
And he went around, home plate umpire making the call. And the count quickly goes to 0-2. Jim Hoy at the plate. Both pitchers throwing a lot of strikes early in this ball game. Porcello's 0-2.
Yeah, and then Manny said, well, you know, if you've been paying attention, the plate's supposed to be 17 inches. You take the edge of the ball, maybe get it to 21, 22 inches. And that ball probably off the corner, as was the one to Romine. So it's a big strike zone tonight. Take a look. It's a little off the corner, but I'm not sure you can take that pitch tonight. He's,
nope.
You know, it's the hitting instructor Jim Presley. Remember when Tommy McGraw he said it's not your strike zone as a hitter, it's theirs, and you got to live with it whether you're pitching or you're hitting. And I think they're getting the message tonight.
Yep. Adam Jones will go after the first pitch and foul it back. He grounded out his first time up. Orioles continue to try and pick up the offensive pace here at home. They have averaged 3.1 runs per ball game at home, 4.8 on the road. But the ERA has picked up the slack at home, 3.42 at home and 4.67 on the road. So offense on the road, pitching at home.
Yep. And over 500, 9-7 at home, 11-8 on the road. Something that they were 39-42 last season. Yeah, trying to have that with an 8-3 record, having that the good month that really eluded them last year. We had a couple of them where they were 9-10 games over, and when they won 93 2 years ago. But last year, 4 games over 500, the best month the Orioles had.
Did not go after that pitch, and the count will stay at 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Yeah, Rick Porcello's had a nice breaking ball tonight. Anytime you get Markakis out twice with one, it's good.
And then comes right back in and jams him.
Well, that's the moving, running fastball. It just it sinks and it runs to the righties, runs away from the lefties. And then every once in a while, it will only be a mile or two, he'll throw that 4-seam fastball. So it's just that's the one he'll kind of change your eye level by pitching up in the zone a little bit. So obviously very effective. He pitched well. He's 5-1. He's 4-4 in a row, and they score him a lot of runs. Almost 7 runs a game.
1-2 delivery. Jones off the mound and into center field. 7-game hit streak. Adam will pick up the base hit with 2 down. And the Orioles with 2 away got that run in the second. Let's see if they can do it again here in the third.
Yeah, watch him hang this curveball. I mean, right back down the middle. That's what you want to do with 2 strikes. And not only does he get on, he brings Chris Davis to the plate. And that's how you have multiple run innings. Get him with somebody on, and you just never know.
So Chris will stand in. He flied out to center field his first time up. Orioles now with 3 hits against Porcello.
Yeah, those are the numbers you were talking about. 4-12 over the last 4 games with a couple of home runs.
Davis trying to launch one there, will foul that one back.
Yeah, that's the 4-seamer, and just try to run it in on his hands. The amazing thing when you look at numbers, you talked about Miguel Cabrera, back-to-back MVP titles, won the Triple Crown a couple of years ago. He hits .346 with runners when he puts a ball in play. Right behind him is Chris Davis at .336. So when he's able to make contact, which Cabrera does a little bit more, they both have really high averages.
Adam Jones will go back to the bag. Chris says with a couple of home runs, 1 here, 1 on the road. And the average has been about the same, starting the night. .258 at home and .265 on the road for Chris Davis. The outfield deep, infield swung around with a big shift on with 2 outs. Porcello, the high set, off speed, drives it the other way. Rajah Davis over, and he's got it. No runs on 1 hit, no errors, and 1 left on base. 3 complete. First of 3 against the Tigers. Orioles on top. Wins page for Michael Pineda and the Yankees. He may be out longer than 3 to 4 weeks, according to Joe Girardi. They'd hope to get him back. He's got a muscle tear on the right side. They think it's going to take a while. The Red Sox against lefties are up to 10-4 against left-handed starters. That is the most in the American League in wins. And for Mike Burley, how about on Mother's Day? His mother, Pat, threw out the first ball. She signed the autograph for her son. That's the way it should be done on Mother's Day.
Oh, exactly.
Good job.
One of the reasons he's 6-1. Like any other mom, probably took him to Little League, took him hunting because he's a big outdoor guy. Yeah. Hunting is a gun loaded.
I love that. 1-0 lead for the Orioles, and the top of the order coming up for the Tigers. Kinsler, Hunter, and Cabrera. Ian Kinsler started it out, grounding out in the first at bat against Norris. Now 1 for 6, lifetime off Bud. And the pitch will be taken for a ball.
Yeah, he missed on the first pitch and then was able to get one in on his fist and hit a nice routine ground ball to Manny Machado at third.
Orioles 1-3-0. They've left 3. The Tigers 0-0-1. They have left none.
So here you go. Second time through the order. If you're the Tigers, Wally Joyner, in his first year, he's got 5 guys hitting 300 in this lineup. But okay, he's thrown his slider. It's been good. And the fastball's got some zip, 93 to 95.
And the pitch for a strike.
There it is. And so far to this point, and again, we're here in the 4th inning, he's been able to stay out of the middle of the plate, and that's a great way to pitch.
Kinsler's had during the 6-game hit streak 9 hits in his last 26 at bats. Check swing and a pitch, and that will miss outside. Kinsler, Hunter, and Cabrera. The Tigers 8-4 on the road, while the Orioles are now 9-7 at home. 3-ball, 1-strike delivery, and walked him. So there's the first base runner.
Yeah, and again, we talk about it only at least coming in 49%.
Take a look at our Jeep Inside the Numbers regarding the Orioles starter.
Yeah, well, and again, I think it's, to me, when the bases are empty and it's 349, it's got to be a focus thing. Because again, when it gets a little bit tougher, and as you go through a lineup the second time, or you get into the heart of the lineup with Hunter, with Cabrera, with Martinez, guys that are red hot, it's harder to be able to post those numbers against a good hitting team, and these guys can hit.
So Hunter will stand in. Runner goes. That's what we were talking about. The throw, not in time. It'll be a stolen base.
Well, if you're Brad Ausmus and you're managing this team, you have speed. That's the 5th stolen base, 31 on the year now. You have a guy that doesn't throw well behind the plate. We've been trying to work on a quicker relief, and you can see the throw on one hop. Fastball. You have a guy that can handle the bat, hitting over 300, and Torrey Hunter. So a lot of good things can happen even if you don't make contact.
So Kinsler 5 for 7. Clevenger's thrown out 2 of 14. And with Norris on the mound, base stealers 6 for 6. And that one in the air to right field. Marquez going back. He's got it. Runner tags. So Hunter is retired. Kinsler will move over to third base. Potential tying run with 1 away.
And that's a terrific at bat by Torrey Hunter, just getting him with Cabrera coming up to third base.
Don't forget, on Wednesday you can skip out of work early and enjoy an afternoon of baseball as a 12:35 start for the concluding game on Wednesday. Good seats remain for the afternoon showdown. They will go fast, so get this midweek treat under your belt. Orioles.com or 888-848-BIRD. With one down here in the 4th inning, Cabrera will try and get the run in. Cabrera popped out his first time up. Cabrera right now 5th in the American League with 29 RBIs. He is tied for 8th with 11 doubles. The league's reigning MVP for the last 2 years. And the pitch to him will go to center field. Jones will not have a play, and he's done it again. Cabrera will pick up the RBI. That will tie the ball game up. 30 RBIs on the season.
Yeah, the amazing number for him, and of course he came in 1 out of 3, 333 with runners in scoring position. But this is all about the leadoff walk. It's all about the 2-1 slider that got him to 3-1, and then he walked him. Good speed, stole the base, and then Cabrera, he hit 397 with runners in scoring position for the entire year last year, almost 400.
He puts up numbers that are not to be believed. The Orioles wish it weren't so, but it is. So the ball game is tied. Norris came into the inning having surrendered nothing. First base run to the walk. That's the first hit the Tigers have in the ball game. Martinez, Victor Martinez flied out his first time up. Norris's delivery to him will be up high for a ball. A .304 hitter in this ballpark with 7 home runs. Victor Martinez. Brad Ausmus. Little teaching going on by the former major league catcher.
Yeah, Castellanos, the third baseman, the rookie. And Brad Ausmus having a little conversation.
Kinsler, the veteran second baseman, there with him.
Might learn something. Well, Ausmus won 3 Gold Gloves. He knows what he's talking about.
1-0 delivery will be foul back.
Well, the one pitch that to this point, and we're only in the 4th inning, that Bud Norris has yet to throw is that changeup. Only throws it about, 9%, I think is the number we have. So they're looking somewhere between, as you can look right here. I mean, we have them. I don't know if he's thrown a changeup, but they have them at 7%. So everything has been about 85 to 94. So they're looking hard. And if he hangs a slider, that's when you speed up the bat.
Victor Martinez, runner on at first base. Left center field. Jones, it's tailing away. Not going to get it. That'll take a hop off the wall. Cabrera, not fleet of foot, will stop at third. And a double picked up by Martinez.
Now, one of the more red-hot hitters in baseball, and you can see elevates the fastball. I mean, it's on the outside third of the plate, but this is what he does. He's a gap-to-gap hitter with power.
400 road batting average for Martinez coming in, and he picks up his 8th double. And now Detroit threatening here in the 4th inning to not only tie it up but get the lead, as they've got Jackson coming up, a strikeout victim, his first time to the plate. Runners at second and third, one away. Infield, back. Not wanting to give up the out here, and the runners not having to go on contact. The delivery by Norris, and that will be taking up high as he has started these hitters off with a 1-0 count. Austin Jackson, their speedy center fielder.
Yeah, about the only thing he hasn't done well for him are these kind of situations. 4 for 24, 167 to this point with runners in scoring position.
Slider will catch it.
See, that's a good take as a hitter, and it's a good pitch by Bud Norris. I mean, he wants to, because he knows Jackson's a good fastball hitter throwing something else, so he executes his pitches. And if you're Austin Jackson and you're a veteran now, you know who's in trouble. Norris. Because a fly ball will give the Tigers a lead of any depth.
1 ball, 1 strike count. Outfield drawn in a couple of steps because of Jackson, not the situation. And the pitch is taken inside. And a 2 ball, 1 strike count. So Norris trying to get this big out right here without allowing that run to score. Cabrera's not fast. And a hard hit ground ball even with the infield back. They might have a play on Cabrera, and he's not going to be going here, I wouldn't think, unless the ball goes through. They're not going to risk the injury to Cabrera on a play at the plate. Norris stepping off.
Yeah, normal year he plays just about every game. Last year with the hip, and he only played 148 game and was not his self in the playoffs. So I'm not sure the Red Sox actually beat the Tigers.
2 ball, 1 strike delivery on the way. Jackson will take it up high, and the count will go to 3-1.
Well, we saw their third base coach, Dave Clark, and of course one of your favorite bands, no doubt, the Dave Clark 5. That's what they've averaged on the road, 5.2 runs.
Bits and pieces, just bits and pieces.
All over.
3 ball, 1 strike delivery on the way. That's going to get a run in. Jones will back up. Cabrera will tag up. Look at that ball carry all the way to the warning track. Cabrera scores. Martinez moves over to third base, and the RBI by Jackson gives the Tigers a 2-1 lead.
And so Austin Jackson does exactly what he wants, in it, at least in one sense, and that is get a ball in the air. And count has a lot to do with it. 3-1. Got to throw a strike. Adam Jones runs it down. Ball just seems to be carrying well. And meanwhile, Victor Martinez will tag up after Cabrera scores to make it 2-1 and go to third base.
So Jackson credited was his 12th run batted in. Cabrera leading, as you would expect, the Tigers with 30 RBIs now. Over to third base goes Victor Martinez, and Castellanos coming up, a strikeout victim. His first time to the plate for their third baseman. Runner at third, 2 down. Bud Norris had a very similar outing to this one so far, at least. And the last time that he pitched in the game against Tampa Bay, he ended up going through the order facing only 2 over the minimum through 3, and had not given up a hit. He had walked 3 batters, but no hits through the lineup, and then gave up that first run in the 4th inning and got touched up again the 5th and 6th. That'll go to short. Hardy is there. He'll make the play over to first base. and record the out. 2 runs in for the Tigers. They do it on 2 hits. 1 will be left on base. Tigers up by 1. The good news in 62 for Craig Anderson was he won both ends of a doubleheader. The bad news, he never won again. He lost the next 16 decisions that year, the next 19 overall, and that was the end of his major league career. 2004, Alex Cora, 14 consecutive foul balls, and then on the 18th pitch of the at-bat, he hit a home run off Cubs pitcher Matt Clement for a Dodger 4-0 lead, one of the longest at-bats in Major League history. They started counting the foul balls on the scoreboard at Dodger Stadium, and the fans cheered every one of them.
And that's Joey Cora's brother.
Yeah. This young man who's 0 for 20.
Yeah.
But he's not going to give up.
Nope.
Bottom half of the 4th inning. Nelson Cruz will take the pitch for a strike. Porcello, no walks, 1 strikeout so far. That'll be an inside out to right field. Look at the playing him right in the gap, Hunter.
And deep.
1 away. Time now for all fans to tweet their photo using hashtag #MassonFanPhotos for a chance to have it shown in a future broadcast. Brought to you by AT&T.
Floppy hat night. Obviously, he didn't miss last year's. What day is it? I know you're anxiously awaiting.
It's Luau Day. It's Monday.
Luau Day.
Luau
Monday.
Day. We're going to start naming each and every day as though it was a casual day at work.
A John Miller Day?
I like those kind of days. I wore my Hawaiian shirt to the ballpark today, and everybody was giving me trouble, so I just said it was Luau Day.
That's right. I mean, the only difference between, well, a lot of difference between you and John Miller is that he would have had sandals on. Did you have sandals on?
I couldn't do that, no. Tap foul outside of first base.
Hey, how about those shoes you had last year? I think.
Well,
come on, are you going to bring them out this year? Those
You're not going to.
They were fabulous shoes.
This is the honest to God truth. They're in the back of the car, and I looked last night, and they're in the back seat on the floor.
Oh, why?
Well, because I haven't taken them out yet. I'm going to buy you a pair of those.
You got to unpack those cars.
They were deck shoes.
Well, they were. I don't know what they were, but they look good. Yeah.
Well, that's all that matters. You'll know, Jim. You'll know. Better do look good than do feel good. Speaking of looking good, can't see that because it's camouflage. 2-ball, 2-strike count on Hardy. Single and a run scored and fouled off.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea when you're a pull hitter and you got a guy throwing that nasty sinker that you don't have that on it. And JJ's hoping the ball doesn't know that his ankle's down there either. Maybe that camouflage protection will help him.
He almost got himself right there.
Yep.
2-2 delivery is away off the end of the bat. Could be a problem. Jackson, great speed.
Yeah, they play pretty deep. A much bigger ballpark in Detroit, Comerica Field, than here. And of course, one of the reasons they got him, Curtis Granderson went over to the Yankees. They got Phil Koch, who's out in the bullpen, and Austin Jackson, who was younger than Granderson, and he's played. He can go get him in center field.
And 2 down. Name we've mentioned a lot this year, Hunter Harvey pitching tonight for Delmarva. That ball will go to center, and that's going to be a base hit. Clevenger's 2 for 2. He had an RBI double, and now he's got a base hit. Hunter Harvey, 7 innings, has given up 1 hit, no runs, a walk, and 10 strikeouts, a career high. He's retired 16 in a row. Delmarva leads 1-0 over the Lakewood Blue Claws.
I haven't heard anything bad about Hunter Harvey.
No.
Oh, no.
No.
Yeah, good windup, great arm, great stuff, good feel for pitching. So get him out of A-ball.
Keeps pitching like that, he'll get himself out of A-ball.
I think.
2 down, and the pitch taken for a strike by Delman Young, who reached on an error his first time up. Young with that big 360 average against Porcello. Clevenger on at first base. 0-1 delivery, and Porcello comes inside to him for a ball. Right back with you tomorrow night. Game 2 of this series. You got Ubaldo Jimenez against Drew Smiley. 6:30 O's extra. 7 o'clock for the game. The announced starter for the Wednesday noontime game for the Orioles not announced. Justin Verlander going for the Tigers. That'll be in the dirt. Wei-Yin Chen has not been named as a starter for either of the next 2 games yet. Orioles have not named a starter for the first of 4 at Kansas City. There's Wei-Yin. He's not in the bullpen. We thought he might be going out there tonight. Tillman, Norris, and Ubaldo Jimenez have already been named for the games 2, 3, and 4 at Kansas City. 2 ball, 1 strike count. And in the air to right field, Hunter. Torrey will put it away for the out. No runs on 1 hit, no errors, 1 left on. Orioles have stranded 4, 1 in scoring position. Baseball on Masson is brought to you by PNC Bank, for the achiever in you, and by Luna. For beautiful new carpet, hardwood, and laminate, call 877-241-LUNA. After a little rain delay, beautiful night here for baseball.
Yeah, Bud Norris starts out using all his pitches. Does strike out 4 in a row, and in the 4th inning, the dreaded. We told you about his numbers, 49% of leadoff batters, but in the 4th inning, the dreaded leadoff walk, and then all of a sudden they get to see him for the 2nd time, and they get a couple of runs on the board.
RBIs for Cabrera and Jackson in that inning. Norris has thrown 6 out of 15 first pitch strikes so far. Porcello's got 10 out of 17. Avila will lead it off. Alex Avila, who struck out his first time up, still looking for his first hit off Norris. He is 0 for 9. With the infield shifted over, he shows bunt, trying to move Manny Machado, who came in a little bit. Manny at the shortstop position. You see him going back.
Yeah, so he'll shorten up maybe a step or two. It's not a bad play.
It's almost a freebie if you're a good bunter.
Well, it's even a better play if you actually practice it.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure whether he does or not, but I can't imagine if there's a good slider and a fastball count that if they keep putting that shift on, there are going to be times, not only tonight, but over the course of games throughout the season, that you're just going to take what they give you.
We just don't see that happen very often, except by those who you would expect to do it, like the Raja Davises. 1-1 delivery on the way, and that will be outside. And a 2-ball, 1-strike count. Bud Norris at the bottom third of the order for the Tigers. Outfield moved a little bit towards left, and they're in a couple of steps on Avila. That ball will be fouled away. Both Jones and Cruz, especially Adam, have moved in a couple of steps in the outfield.
Yeah, playing the pull on the ground and in the outfield, maybe 2-3 steps for Adam Jones, the center fielder. He just wants to get off to the out of the ability of not being able to see the pitch when it comes out of Bud Norris's hands.
2-2 delivery to him and a check swing. Check at third. Yep. Ball Nerd with a call down there.
Well, take a look, and yeah, that bat traveled far enough. Paul Howard saying, nope, you went.
So 5 strikeouts picked up for Norris so far. He's had as many as 7 this year, as many as 14 in a game in his career. Romine will take the pitch up high for a ball. Romine called out on strikes his first time up. Tigers ready to get Anibal Sanchez back off the DL. He's expected to perhaps later this week or on the weekend go into rehab. He pitched today here at the ballpark and felt fine through a simulated 60-pitch game.
Yeah, had a blister on one of his pitching fingers. And what did he do last year? Won 14 games and led the American League in earned run average.
They haven't had him, and they've won 21. 2-0 delivery on the way, and that is in there for a strike. So Norris 2-1.
Yeah, I think for Bud Norris, I mean, he's going to take the next step forward. The stuff is terrific. It's just that he's not wild, but it's almost like sometimes he tries to be a little bit too perfect, and that's how he gets into these hitters' counts.
Again, showed bunt and actually meant it.
Because he made a lot of quality pitches tonight. But part as you mature as a starter is you know how important it is to get the leadoff batter off, something he hasn't done well, at least to this point in the season. You know how important. I mean, Dave Wallace's pitching coach said, okay, let's try to get hitters out with 3 to 4 pitches. If you do that, you can pitch later in the game. If you pitch later in the game, whether you're Porcello or Norris, with good offensive teams, you're going to win more games. You save the bullpen for August and September. So you can do all those things, but just sometimes it looks like maybe just a little the focus wonders. And when it does, you get where you just maybe instead of throwing 3 pitches, you throw 5 or 6. And over a course of 18 to 25 batters, that's how the pitch count gets to 100 in a hurry.
Yep. 2-ball, 2-strike delivery on the way. Jammed in, popped it up. Looks like it's playable. Norris, look out.
Yeah.
He makes the play himself. Norris off the mound was charging.
Well, he knew where they were playing Romine. So this is a sprint right here. I mean, this is really, he's very athletic. He can do a lot of things to help you win. And then, I don't know, I think right here, oh, there we go. Almost like he's taking a bow. Yep, I can pitch and I can defend.
He was tagging somebody out in the dugout.
Yeah.
Good play. Now Brad wants to let him rest.
Yeah, Brad Osmus said, I stopped playing a number of years ago. I played 18 years, but you don't have to tag me.
Nor am I going to say anything complimentary to you.
But that was you don't see that very often. That was a terrific play.
So Norris helps his own cause. 2 down. There's Rajai Davis, who grounded out his first time up. And he will bunt. And it hit him. And Bud Norris saying it hit him after he came out of the box. And plate umpire says no.
Well, you never know when they might listen to you. Yeah, the whole thing here is he out of the box or not? And let's look where the left foot is. Ball comes up well in the batter's box.
Yep.
It's a dead ball.
Tigers have a lot of hitters who've done really well on the road this year. Davis is one of them. 357 on the road. 6th best average. That goes to center. Jones is there, and Bud Norris has a solid inning. The Tigers decide in order. We'll go to the bottom of the 5th with the Tigers leading it 2-1. Game 2 of this 3-game set. Ubaldo Jimenez will be on the mound against Drew Smiley. Our coverage on Masson at 6:30. O's Extra presented by Geico, and our game coverage at 7. All the access you need right here on Masson.
And Drew Smiley comes out of the bullpen. Terrific job for him last year. Adds a changeup, at least when he throws a little bit more often. And then you can see Ubaldo, he comes back after starting out 0-4. The last 2 games have been much better. So it's always a test when you play the Tigers. So lefty versus righties. And they were all out hitting today, at least the Oriole pitchers. And Mr. Jimenez actually knows how to swing the bat a little bit.
Preparing for those interleague games to be played in the National League ballpark coming up in Pittsburgh for 2. The Orioles bat here in the bottom half of the 5th inning. Jonathan Scope, he grounded out his first time up. Porcello's delivery to him, and that's a big swing and a miss.
Now you got to look at one half or the other, and the first time Jonathan had a couple of good takes. You can see 61% fastballs, no changeups yet. So either fastballs or that kind of slurvy. And of course, the slurve doesn't break sharp. His breaking ball's been pretty good. There's one.
Hit hard to short. Played nicely by Roman. And one away in a couple of pitches here in the 5th inning. Let's take a look at our PNC minor league report. It's brought to you by PNC Bank, for the achiever in you.
Yeah, a veteran infielder, and he's been around. He's played in the big leagues, so you never ever know. And the one thing that the Orioles have always done is, especially over the Duquette era and the Showalter era, is more depth, just in case somebody goes down with an injury. So you can see heating up as the weather gets a little bit warmer.
Top of the order, Nick Markakis, 0 for 2 in the ball game. 1 down. Porcello's pitch is in there for a strike. Nick on the season now, 3 for 14 against the Tigers. Castellanos again playing in at third base. Again, we have no idea why. On the cut of the grass, we see so many teams do this. 0-1 delivery. Nick has not tried to bunt since 1820. But they still play.
Well, he slows it in on 5,000 major league at bats. He's a 292 lifetime hitter. And
if anything, it gives Nick that hole between short and third.
Well, if he hits the ball sharply, which he can, and he's playing in, easier to hit it by him. There's the first changeup of the evening by Rick Porcello.
2-1 strikeout on Markakis.
I mean, unless you're playing for the swinging bunt, I just don't understand this. But
so many teams do it, though.
Especially the Red Sox, that opening series here.
That's the off-speed delivery. That's going to be in there for a strike, 2-2.
So a lot of soft stuff. The first 2 times out, curveball to short, curveball to Cabrera, and now back-to-back changeups when he got behind him. So all of a sudden here in the 5th, he's introduced his 3rd pitch.
And the 2-2 delivery. And Nick will take that to center field, right at him. Jackson is there, and there are 2 down here in the 5th. And Manny Machado coming up. Voting for the All-Star Game underway right now at Orioles.com/vote-orange. You can vote for your favorite Oriole up to 35 times. All fans who vote at least 25 and select the O's as their favorite team get a voucher good for 10 off any box seat, 5 off a reserve for the Angels series in July. And one lucky fan who votes 35 times will get the 14 All-Star jersey autographed by the Orioles All-Stars. Go to Orioles.com/vote-orange. Cruz certainly will be in consideration for the All-Star Game. Manny Machado will take the pitch on the outside corner for a strike. Manny has grounded out and been called out on strikes. The only strikeout victim of Porcello in the ballgame. 0-1, and that's a strike on the outside corner.
Yeah, he's making some nice pitches, and it's one of those games where a lot of ground balls and you don't know what's coming. You throw fastballs and breaking balls in any count.
Porcello just does not walk anybody. 0-2 delivery. Saved me swing right there that worked. Porcello walks only 1.4 per 9 innings, 4th lowest number in the league.
Well, when I was talking to Jeff Jones, and there he is, their pitching coach, and he's been, he was in the bullpen, and then all of a sudden 2011, he said he just has a better feel for pitching. You got to understand, he went, the 27th guy picked because.
And off the top of the glove of Kinsler for a base hit to right field.
Yeah, that's it's no-no land if you're trying to pitch to Manny Machado. Up and out over the plate, you're usually going to have a good hit and good swing, and that's exactly what he has. Kinsler thought he was going to be able to catch it. But part of pitching is because there's so much feel and touch to it. Jim Cotte, a terrific left-hander, 16 straight Gold Gloves, 286 wins. Jim used to always talk about how he and Earl Batty, when he's pitching for the Twins, would try to see how far they could actually get in the game without throwing a breaking ball. Adding a little bit, subtracting, inside, outside. That's what Jeff Jones said Porcello is getting much more astute at being able to do at age 25.
Yep, the Orioles get a man on. That's hit number 5 for the Orioles. Adam Jones has one of them. He's 1 for 2 with a base hit. And Adam will foul off that first pitch. Adam has picked the pace up here in the month of May. Came into the ball game in May hitting at 261. Good numbers against the Tigers, including the 5 home runs that he's picked up in his career. Porcello with the advantage here, 0-1. Adam has picked up 4 hits and 23 at bats off Porcello. Manny Machado held at first by Cabrera. And Adam inside out into the seats.
I kind of like that approach. I mean, that's an inside out swing, but boy, it's just amazing in a small ballpark how deep with a runner in first and 2 outs the Tiger outfield play. They are really making an effort with a guy that 32 home runs 2 years ago, 33 last year. They can drive the ball, try to take away the extra base hit.
They give him that left field gap between left and center is wide open. 0-2 count on Adam. Runner not going. Inside. Check it first. Nope. Bob Davidson down there with the call.
And another sinking running fastball running in into your back leg, and pretty close to. Could have gone either way. Of course, Avila's gone, hey, if he called it on me, he doesn't get the call.
And it'll take it to 1-2. Orioles have the extra base hit from Clevenger, the double. The other hits have been singles, one base runner and an error. Machado. 1-2 delivery. Jones jammed, fights that one off. And the count will stay at 1-2 strikes on Adam Jones. Adam trying to get his numbers up here at his home yard. Only .200 for a batting average here at Camden Yards. .316 on the road, and obviously that's not going to stay there as the season goes along. Adam here at home last year hit .292, about 15 points higher than he did on the road. 1-2 strike count. Machado is not gone yet. Throw over to try and keep it that way.
Well, coming off the knee injury, this is all about getting a good lead, not going to steal a base. You mentioned Avila's a very good throwing catcher. You're not taking the bat out of Adam Jones' hand, but just gets your good secondary lead, and if he hits a double, maybe you have a chance to score.
Count remains 1-2. Comebacker. Porcello. Cabrera. And there's the out. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, and 1 left on base. Orioles have had somebody on every inning except the first. Jim Palmer here. Over the weekend we were talking about something I wanted to ask Jim about. The Houston Astros minor league organization has gone to the 2 starters named per game. 1 goes 5, 1 goes 4, you hope. They're trying it out. What do you think?
Well, it's not the first organization that's done that. I think what they want to do is they just want to get guys to be able to pitch and pitch more frequently, and probably every 4th day instead of every 5th day. So get on the mound. And again, going back to what Jim Cott said, I mean, one of the great left-handers, every chance I have, I vote for him for the Hall of Fame, but pitching is feel and touch. So get him on the mound. It's kind of when Leo Mazzoni was with Atlanta. They threw 2 times between, even though they pitched every 5th day. Again, just trying to get the feel of the baseball. So it's a good way to get inexperienced people some experience, and then if you all you got to do is look at some of the scouting reports, you realize a lot of these guys have a great idea, a great arm, but just don't or haven't learned how to pitch yet.
Could that ever work at the major league level?
Oh, I don't know.
I don't either.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it's an issue under discussion here, and the cause for that is because you've had so many pitchers who aren't going very deep in ball games and trying to figure out if you're only going to pitch 5 innings as a starter anyway, why not name 2 starters and then go on a 4-day rotation? I don't know.
And then you get the agents involved.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, you can do it. I guess they say physiologically you can't, but I did, and Marichal did, and Koufax did, and a lot of guys have done it. And
that's a base hit into left field, Ian Kinsler, and he hit that one hard. So Kinsler's first hit, but he has been on base twice in the ball game. The Orioles thank the 2014 American Heart Association Baltimore Heartball signature sponsors SunTrust and Johns Hopkins Medicine, whose support for the event helped raise $700,000 to fight heart disease. For more information on how you can help or contribute, go to Orioles.com/AHA. So the leadoff in on, again, that's twice now in 6 innings. And it's at the top of the order. Here is Hunter. Hunter's flied out and grounded out. Hunter now 3 for 11 against Norris. And Norris with a very quick throw over as Kinsler's already stolen a base.
Well, part of you mentioned the numbers of trying to throw people out against Wieters, 1 for 12, and even though he's had the elbow problems, Clevenger now 2 out of 14. Caleb Joseph 0 for 2. To give your catcher, especially if you don't have Matt Wieters behind there, you better hold him close. And so again, the cat and mouse. You got Hunter who can handle the bat. Never was a 300 hitter till Mike Socia, when he was with the Angels, moved him into this spot, and then all of a sudden he started using the whole field, not concentrating on home runs. And so the Tigers, you know what they want to do. They want to make it more comfortable for Rick Porcello as he gets into the later innings, and you have the guys that can do it. You have speed, you have guys that can use the whole field, and then you have 2 of the best hitters in baseball coming up with Cabrera and Martinez.
305 batting average starting the night for Hunter. Is 14th in the American League, just out of that top 10 group. 1-0 count, big lead at first. Kinsler leaning, there he goes. What a jump. Clevenger throws a good one and got him. After Kinsler got a great jump, it took a perfect throw, and that's what Clevenger put into the glove for the out.
And Brad Osmond's going to come out. So again, big lead, big jump, heads down, straight steal. And very hard to see from. I mean, it happened so quickly. Slider. I mean, this is about as good as you can do. Throw up the line, and I believe that he did tag him up on the leg. And I think he's out. And I don't think, again, you can look at this a lot of different ways, but is he able to get him?
John Tumpane, second base umpire. Well, I do think he got him, but even if he didn't, it's too close for a challenge, and that's exactly what Osmus decides.
Yeah, one of those plays you're not going to change because no discernible, obvious that he was out, but perfect throw, and it was a slider down and away. So Steve Clevenger does not have the arm strength of Matt Wieters, who does, but he said the one thing I can do, hold the runners, and then, and you can see Matt with the clicker. Can you get it down there about 2.1? If you can do that, you're going to throw some guys out.
That's a big play. So the first out of the inning recorded on the caught stealing against Kinsler. Now Hunter, with the bases empty, has a 2-ball, 1-strike count. And they can put the shift on against him in the infield without worrying about a base runner. And that will catch the outside corner for a strike.
Yeah, that's going to get a lot of hitters out if you can locate your fastball right there. You know, Torrey Hunter was looking for one, and that's where he drove in the 5 runs in Detroit off of Bud Norris.
Kinsler's been caught 3 times now this year. 2-2 delivery on the way and a check swing, and the look to first, no. Hunter thought about it. That pitch fell off the table and may have been outside too.
Close. Yeah. Well, it's a double if he makes contact. Good enough bat speed.
3-2 delivery on the way and got him. Norris catches the inside corner. Hunter was headed to first. He'll head the other way now.
Yeah, I think he thinks it's inside, but boy, a gutsy pitch right here with Cabrera on deck. Clevenger comes in. That corner of the ball appears to be in the box. But once again, if you're Jim Hoy, if you slide in when Steve slides over, and then he hits the glove, and that's how you get those calls.
Brad Osmus is talking with his veteran trainer and probably about Rick Porcello. Porcello came off the mound and went down the runway and has not come back up. And the pitch will be taken for a strike. And whether there's something wrong or not, we don't know, but we'll see. Certainly would think so. That there's Porcello, who just came up, and he's talking to Osmus now, whether or not he can come back in the ball game or not. They don't have anybody warming up in the bullpen. And Cabrera How about Cabrera asked for the Cabrera pointed down to first base on the check swing.
He Ortized him. David Ortiz does that.
Knowing that the catcher was going to do it, so he thought he'd beat him to it. And a 1-ball, 1-strike count on Cabrera. And he'll go the other way, and it's a foul ball. He is the leader against the Orioles among active players with a .395 average, 17 home runs, 47 RBIs in 48 games. Just unbelievable numbers, and he's recorded at least one hit in 9 straight, and 23 out of 24 against the Orioles, and he's added to that with a base hit and an RBI in this game.
You know, we showed you Rick Porcello, and I'm just kind of wondering if you go back to the second inning when Scope hit that ball to right side, and he actually kind of did a stumbling 2-step tag at first base. If it's anything, maybe it's just some kind of leg injury or whatever. Plus, as you mentioned, it's a little bit warmer than it has been in the 80s here today.
We'll see. 2-2 delivery on the way, and that's going to go to short. Oh, what a catch by J.J. Hardy. Hardy hauls it in. A Gold Glove. Denies an MVP base hit. As good as it gets right there. Cabrera jumping that. How could he do that to me? And he looks out. Norris says appreciate it. It's brought to you by Mazda. Chris Davis coming up. Couple of fly ball outs. Nelson Cruz and then J.J. Hardy. Speaking of which.
Yeah. Speaking of Gold Glove plays, and a high breaking ball that spanked into, at least looked like it was getting into left center, and out of nowhere comes J.J. and then Cabrera's already putting it in his back pocket. No. Why me? Well, because you're the back-to-back MVP. That's why.
Just staring at him in the dugout, talking to him. Cabrera's got a great personality. I mean, he's always alive out there in the field, well liked by his teammates and opponents, for that matter. And they've met, obviously, a number of times, all-star games. So it continues, a 2-1 ball game. The Tigers on top. Orioles about hit Detroit 5-3 in the game. Davis up, goes to first. Cabrera's got it. He'll go himself and record the out. So Chris Davis retired on 1 pitch, and yes, Porcello is back out there on the mound.
Yeah, I watched him warm up and didn't seem to have any problems. I mean, very, very efficient with only 73 pitches. 1/3 of them curveballs and good ones. A couple of changeups. That's it.
So that will bring up Cruz, who has lined out, flied out. These two teams with the big history. Detroit Tigers, of course, their history goes all the way back into the 1880s when they had a team in the National League. Then 1901 when the Tigers came into the American League. The Orioles played their first game at Tiger Stadium as Orioles on April 13 of 1954. The first game when the Orioles came back to Baltimore when the Browns moved was against the Tigers. They lost 3-0. Went around on that one. And a 1-ball, 1-strike count. It was against the Tigers that Mark Parent in '96 hit a home run that broke the major league record set by the '61 Yankees for team home runs in a series. And that came against the Tigers. A very rich history, of course, Detroit baseball.
Yeah, one of the great games that I was part of was the '71 All-Star game, where American League not winning many All-Star games at that time, but everybody that by the Blue started, I pitched second, but everybody that hit a home run ended up in the Hall of Fame. Talking about, I mean, Reggie hit the transformer, Frank Robinson, Aaron, bench. I don't know if Killebrew hit one, Clemente hit one to right center off of Lolich. It was unbelievable.
That was the old ballpark that had a number of names: Tiger Stadium, Briggs Stadium. I went by there while we were in Detroit. I went out to take a look. It's torn down. They've put a marker in. There's nothing else that's been built on the site yet. Down to third and just missed going over the bag. So 1-ball, 2-strike count. Stu Miller and Steve Barber also had a no-hitter against the Tigers in April of '67
and lost. I was there in Memorial Stadium.
Yep. 1-ball, 2 strikes. Nelson Cruz with a .274 average, and that one
just a little high. Yep,
not by much.
Yeah, you try to explain to people. I mean, Steve Barber, first 20-game winner the Orioles had, heavy sinker. Stu Miller was Mr. Changeup, and it's hard to explain to a young pitcher who never saw him what he was about. I mean, he would jerk his head. He would start, came through the minor leagues as a starting pitcher. He became one of the best closers, and of all the closers I have ever seen, if you'd said, who can you load the bases up and bring in, and you don't have a chance to score because you couldn't get the ball in the infield, it was Stu Miller. As good as Mariano Rivera, Stu was just the most amazing guy I ever saw.
Magic.
Well, they called him Bullet because it went so slow.
2-2, and got him swinging. 0 for 3 in the ball game for Cruz. 2 strikeouts, Porcello.
Yeah, balls diving at your ankles. That's the sinker, and then the breaking ball, and it's been a good one. A strike throwing machine.
Doesn't strike out a lot of batters. He's had as many as 6 this year. Right around the 4 number per game for Porcello. 6 previous starts, 39 innings work, 38 2/3. So he can get you into a ball game. 71% of leadoff batters. He retires. He has retired all the Orioles leadoff batters tonight. Hardy, 1-0 count, 2 down. JJ will put it up in the air in the infield. Shortstop. Romine is there, and he'll put it away. And a 1-2-3 inning. Porcello protecting a 2-1 Tiger lead.
highlights. Runs at a premium. Hardy on first. Clevenger with the double. Here comes Shady to make it 1-0. And here come the Tigers back. A lead-off walk. Cabrera ties it up. Martinez with a double and then the sacrifice fly. Great defense tonight. Bud Norris, very rarely will ever see this. Nice running catch on the pop-up. Takes a little bow. And then right here, J.J. Hardy. Now you see why he's won back-to-back Gold Gloves. Line drive snared off the bat of Cabrera. Porcilla. You see 83 pitches. Bud Norris. Again, both of these guys, not a lot of hits, not a lot of runs. The one walk by Bud Norris scored. But again, the Orioles still much vary in this game, and so is Bud Norris as he pitches here in the 7th inning. That is our Geico game highlights. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
And that will lead to the 7th inning. Tigers 2 runs, 3 hits, an error. The Orioles won 5-0. Orioles have left 5. Tigers have left only 1. It was back in that 4th inning. And the pitch will be taken for a strike. Porcello looks like he is done. F. Jones, the pitching coach, going over. So Porcello out of there after working 6 innings in the ball game. Will leave as a chance to be the winning pitcher. And chop foul at the plate by Martinez. Doubled in the 4th inning. Flied out in the 2nd.
And Victor goes, what is that? A little slider right at my fist. Mariano almost looked like a Mariano Rivera cutting fastball.
Victor Martinez followed in the inning by Jackson and Castellanos. Martinez, big numbers against the Orioles. 305 lifetime hitter. 0-2 delivery, and the pitch by Norris will be up high. 84 pitches thrown by Norris. He's cut that pitch count down in the ball game tonight from other games. 1-2. Big shift on against Martinez, and hit into the shift, and it'll fall in for a base hit. Not a lot of empty spaces out there, but he finds one. And he is 2 for 3 in the ball game, and another leadoff man on. Follow every Orioles game all season long with MLB.com at bat on your favorite mobile phone or tablet. It brings you baseball wherever you are. Live look-ins, instant replays, free MLB TV game of the day, classic games, and more. Download it at the At Bat App Store or go to Orioles.com. Ian Kroll in the bullpen. Runner on at first base for Jackson. Sac fly RBI in the 4th inning. Struck out. Trying to keep a hit streak going. Right now it's at 9 games. Norris's pitch to him will be up high for a ball.
And the 3rd time they've had the leadoff runner on. And a little different because Martinez does not have good speed. Kinsler the first 2 times stole a base and scored, and then got thrown out by Steve Clevenger behind the plate for the Orioles.
Jackson will put that one down the line the other way. A long run for Marquez to get over there, but he'll have no play. So he and Jonathan Scope meeting up over there. 1 ball, 1 strike count. Jackson off to a good start this year. 10th best average in April. He hit .310 for the month and doesn't drop much here. .298. As he stands in against Norris, against whom he's had 3 hits. 1 ball, 1 strike count. Runner not going, and the pitch again will be up high, and 2-1 now. A couple of the interleague classic matchups are going on. Subway Series in New York. The Mets and the Yankees are playing. Texas and Houston, they're playing against one another. All that's kind of interspersed now throughout the season as interleague play. I think really for fans less of an attention grabber nowadays. Just more, they're just games for the most part.
And of course they try. I mean, you have the rivalry. The Mets are playing the Yankees 4 in a row this week. So certainly revenue. The Poster, the Daily News today, did a whole rant on it. Time to let it go.
I agree. I think it is. But I think it's going to be let go in terms of a whole reshuffling, don't you, with baseball? as far as who plays who's in what league and what division. Ground ball will go to third base. Manny Machado will go to second one. That's it. Force out on Martinez as Jackson reaches on the fielder's choice. From routine to the most specialized eye care, LifeBridge Health's Krieger Eye Institute handles it all. Call 401-601-22 for a same-day appointment. There's the schedule.
Yeah, the Tigers, you get Verlander at a little bit after lunch, and then you go to Kansas City. The big ballpark.
Big ballpark. Castellanos coming up. He has struck out and grounded out, runner on at first base. More speed there now.
Yeah, things change. You get Victor Martinez after the leadoff single, and now you have 5 out of 6 somebody that can steal bases. You know, and a lot of managers, I mean, Brad Ausmus, former catcher, played 18 years, won 3 Gold Gloves. A lot of times you take a young hitter and you hit and run, you make him a better hitter because he cuts his swing down.
He is a young hitter.
Yeah, I mean, how can we get him? You know, how can we get a runner to third with less than 2 outs, or can we open up a hole?
Castellanos, only 22 years old, played 11 games with the Tigers last year. It's only his 5th pro season. He was the Tigers' first-round pick, 44th overall in the 2010 draft. A fake go at first base by Jackson. He came back, and a 1-ball, 1-strike count on Castellanos. In the minors, Castellanos over those 4 seasons hit .303, 25 home runs, good extra base power. He had 107 doubles.
Yeah, because of when they signed Fielder for the 9-year deal, and of course that's been voided in some respect because he's now with the Rangers and paying some of his salary down there. Castellanos came up as an infielder. He's moving all. He's playing left field and right field, and when they trade Fielder,
runner goes, and Markakis again over, no play.
Well, you should get to know the fans down the right field line if you're Nick. And they're going, come on, Nick, we need to get a hit, extend that hitting streak. Don't get too tired.
The Castellanos came up really as a shortstop, then ended up being moved over to third. Then when Fielder came, they had to move Cabrera to third, so he went to the outfield, and they said they called him up in the offseason, said, look, you got to take some ground balls because you're going back third base.
And he's a big kid. He's rangy. I mean, he kind of holds the bat a little bit like Tony Conigliaro. When I came up, one of the best young hitters. It was on his way till the beginning to about 500 home runs, but similar stance to Evan Longoria.
1-2. Jackson at first, drawing the attention of Norris. Runner not going, 1-2 delivery, and that's going to be up high. And the count will go to 2 balls and 2 strikes. 94 pitches thrown. Maybe evidence of that in this game, in this inning, because Norris has been up.
Well, there's a tendency when you get a little bit tired, the weather warm and all that, is that you feel like, well, okay, I'll just use my body more, when actually you have to slow your lower body down and speed up your arm. And that's how you pitch into the late innings.
2-2 the count. Runner goes. Swing and a miss. Clevenger ran into the batter. Looks like interference is being called at home plate.
Well, I don't know if are they going to call the runner out, because if they are,
runner is out. It is. The runner is out. Interference as Castellanos stepped over the plate here. Watch Clevenger run into him trying to make the throw. Pretty good play by Clevenger.
Yeah, we'll take a look from this angle, and I mean, he just comes straight out, and again, Castellanos does come across the line. That, and of course, who would know better than Brad Ausmus, 3-time Gold Glover, and he's probably just arguing he didn't mean to interfere, but he did.
And you saw Clevenger was having trouble getting the ball out of the glove anyway. Would not have had a chance at second base. So ends up being a big double play there. Castellanos and Jackson retired. And that's going to be the inning. And the Orioles see if they can take advantage of that. We have 7th inning stretch time here at Camden Yards. authority of the Baltimore Orioles and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Baltimore Orioles. So the fans stretching out here as the two teams battle in a pitcher's duel. Tigers have the 2-1 lead in the ball game. Porcello leaves, a chance to be the winner.
Yeah, he really pitched well, very efficient. I don't know if maybe has some kind of flu bug or whatever. Maybe it was covering first base, but he does a terrific job, and he will leave with a chance to win. Ian Crowe comes on last year with the Nationals in 32 games, part of the Doug Fister trade. Along with Robbie Ray, a young lefty who's had a couple of starts with Sanchez on the DL and really has acquitted himself. So this is a matchup thing. You can see the lefty's only hitting 182. Righty's a little different story at 304.
Clevenger, he's had a night already with an RBI double and a single. Drove in the Orioles run in the second inning after Hardy picked up the 2-out base hit. He got the double, the only Orioles run. The Tigers in the fourth inning, RBI base hit by Cabrera, RBI sac fly by Jackson. And that's it. 3 runs combined on 9 combined hits. Left-hander's delivery, and that one in the air, right center field, deep, and off the wall. Clevenger on his way to second base. What a night. He came in with big numbers against the Tigers, and he's continued it. A 3-for-3 in his second double.
Yeah, and he's used the whole park. He drives in the first run, hit one down the left field line. He singles the center, then Kroll hangs a slider. Or maybe it was a curveball, but look at him stay up and you speed up the bat. So all of a sudden it's a matter, is it going to go out of here or is it going to short hop the wall, which is exactly what it does.
So if we asked you who is the Oriole leader in doubles this year, you would say Chris Davis, Manny Machado.
Machado had 51 last year, but he's been hurt.
There he is.
Dave Clevenger. Well, somebody has to catch if Wieters is not going to be able to do it. And he's done a nice job.
8 doubles on the year for Clevenger, including the 2 in the ball game, the best on the Orioles. And now he's the potential tying run, leadoff man on against the left-hander, and Young, who has reached on an error and flied out, gets the RBI chance.
And let's see what his approach is going to be. Leadoff would love to get him in or to third base, and there's a perfect pitch inside corner, hard to do it on.
Young against the lefties, 278. He's 5 for 18 with a home run against left-handers. Delman is the designated hitter for the Orioles in this ball game. Kroll with the delivery to him, and that'll be in the air to right field. Clevenger will think about tagging here. Hunter will make the catch ready to throw, and Clevenger will stay. Good throw by Hunter to the cutoff man. So Young's retired, 1 away here in the bottom of the 7th inning. Kroll's got Jonathan Scope, and then Nick Markakis, another left-handed batter. So here's the potential danger for the Tigers. They want to leave this reliever in to face Markakis, but he's got to face a right-hander before he gets there.
Yeah, you could see Delman Young trying to shoot the ball into right, but Kroll with a pretty good fastball at 93.
Steve Clevenger, the lead at second base. And the pitch up high. Clevenger's now had a couple 3-hit ball games in his last 3 games.
Yeah, you can see the off the bat, and normally when you get into that range, you're talking about even though the single was the one he hit the hardest. I mean, he hit a hard line drive back up the middle.
1 ball, 1 strike count. Scope with the 0 for 2 in the ball game. Jonathan coming in, putting up some numbers of late. 5-game hit streak. 5 hits in his last 20 at-bats now over that streak. He's had a 7-game hit streak this year. Evan Reed, the right-hander, in the bullpen. 1 ball, 1 strike count. Inside, missed with it, and the count will go to 2-1. Jonathan gets another RBI chance. He's had a lot of them hitting in the bottom of the order in that 9 spot this season, and as we told you, he's come through. Orioles tonight are 0 for 3 with runners in scoring position. 2-1 delivery, and that'll be foul back.
Well, you can see, the more you see the fact that, remember when Terry Crowley was a hitting instructor, he used to say, what, 1,800, 2,000 at bats. He is a slasher. I mean, he's been up, what now, 108 times. He's walked twice, so he's just trying to make contact. But the fact that he's hitting over 300 with runners in scoring position tells me, and he uses the whole field. It makes it harder to get a young hitter out when he's willing to do that.
308 average in those situations coming in tonight. Here's the 2-2 delivery, and again we'll foul that one back. He is also stronger probably than most Oriole fans realize yet, because he's young and learning and still developing. But Showalter continues to talk about the power potential that they're going to see out of him as he progresses.
And it's going to be right center, left center. I mean, he's not going to have to pull the ball to hit his home run.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Clevenger, potential tying run, second base. Throws delivery and got him to reach for an off-speed delivery.
Yeah, if Kroll is smart, he'll throw something out of the zone. I think the one thing, and we talked about how inexperienced Jonathan Scope is that he strikes out just about every third time up at this point in his career. Doesn't walk a lot, strikes out a lot, but that's how you learn. Because the guys can usually handle and throw different pitches and keep them out of the middle of the plate better than they do in the minors.
Again, upstairs.
You're not walking him. Nope.
He's hit only $143 against left-handers so far this season. Scope with a 259 off the righties. Kroll appeared against the Orioles in Detroit. 1 game, worked an inning, gave up nothing. That's the only time he has pitched in a ball game against the O's. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Off-speed breaking ball. This will be a tough play. Castellanos, the throw. What a play. Castellanos makes a big defensive play to get the out at first base.
Well, it's what you were talking about earlier. Everybody I talked to said the same thing, is that, may not have great range, but look at the way he angles his body. So when he does pick it up, he's able to easily turn and throw.
So they get the out. 2 down. Over to third base goes Clevenger. Nick Markakis will be coming up to the plate. Pitching coach on his way to the mound here to have a discussion with Kroll.
Yeah, this is not your normal lefty that you're going to face if you're Ian Kroll, and I'm sure Jeff Jones is going to have that conversation. He got into this trouble by hanging a curveball. If you do that to Nick Markakis, he's going to hit that ball pretty hard.
Well, for Nick, will this be the last chance to continue the hit streak? Don't know. He's 0 for 3 in the ball game. 18 consecutive games he's hit in against the left-handers this season. Nick Markakis lower than the righties. 243 off lefties. 343 off righties. So big moment in the game. Orioles trying to get it tied up. They trail 2-1, bottom of the 7th. Clevenger got the double, moved up on a ground ball out. He's at third. Kroll almost gets him up high.
We got 2 opposing forces. You have the good lefties, and the way they hit left-handed pitching is that front shoulder hangs in there, and then he buzzes one underneath his chin.
Kroll worked last on yesterday. He had a third of an inning, gave up 2 hits against the Twins. 1-0 delivery again, almost got him.
That's right. I almost felt like it might have gotten the jersey. Make another look. You're hanging in there. Watch that, and then all of a sudden you get out of the way, and that ball did miss him.
So after the discussion with his pitching coach, a couple of pitches way inside.
Well, I'm sure Jeff Jones says if Nick gets his druthers, he wants it out over the plate. But you still got to throw strikes, or you got to face, well, I don't know if you'll face him. It'll probably be Evan Reed. Will come in and face Machado, who's on deck.
2-0 delivery. That is there for a strike. Clevenger, after the first couple of pitches, will keep an eye at third base on getting a big lead. In case one of those gets away. A wild pitch could bring in the potential tying run. Kroll has not thrown a wild pitch yet this year in the 11+ innings that he's worked. Markakis, 2-1 strike count. Kroll's delivery again up high, and he kind of like they don't want anything to do with Nick.
Well, that's fine, but he won't be facing the next hitter.
Let's see if Kroll comes in with a pitch here, or at least tries to throw a strike, or just something close.
Well, you can't give in with a tying run in and on third base, so I'm sure he'll try to make the perfect pitch down and away.
He did. It'll go to center field. Nick lifted it with the biggest part of the ballpark. Jackson is there and puts it away. So no runs, 1 hit, no errors, a runner left on at third. 2-1 Tigers. Opener this 3-game set, and we're going to take a look at Wee Willie Keeler as part of the history of the Orioles. Keeler was the one who made famous the pronouncement, "hit 'em where they ain't," and that has been a term in baseball ever since. Elected into the Hall in 1939, 8 straight seasons of 200 or more hits and a .341 career batting average. And Keeler played with the Baltimore Orioles, turn of the century team, 1894 to 1898. A very good baseball team in that era, and Wee Willie Keeler part of it. Also played for a number of other teams, including Brooklyn and the New York Highlanders. Wee Willie Keeler.
Keep your eye,
Orioles history.
Keep your eye clear and hit it where they ain't. 5.4.5. It's a little guy.
Punch the ball through. He could hit, though.
Yeah, I guess apparently he was the first guy to perfect the Baltimore chop.
He was the reason they hardened, I guess, the dirt in front of home plate, because he had speed and he liked to hit the ball on the ground, so he'd chop down, bounce it up, and get an infield hit. And as a result, Hall of Fame for Wee Willie Keeler. And the pitch will miss down low for a ball. And we are in the 8th inning. Both Brian Mattis and Darren O'Day in the bullpen. Bud Norris has gone the distance for the Orioles. Alex Avila has struck out twice against him, bottom third of the order, and a strike in the outside corner. 97 pitches thrown by Bud here. We're in the 8th inning, so heck of a job done tonight in a 2-1 ball game.
Yeah, one inning, a couple of runs. It all started with a leadoff walk, and he was a leadoff batter, so you get into the middle of your lineup second time, and they were able to get 2 runs, and that's it.
No Oriole pitcher has even come remotely close to one thing he's done tonight. He has faced 3 hitters in all but 1 inning. There have been people on base in some of those, but only 1 inning. That was the 4th, where they scored the 2 runs. Did more than 3 hitters come to the plate. 2-1 delivery on the way, and that's foul back. For those of you to keep track of what goes on at home in the 7th inning. As I asked, I wasn't sure on the catcher interference call. That is a double play, a strike him out, not throw him out, but a strike him out interference double play, and the catcher gets the assists on both the outs, the one at the plate on the swing and the one at second on the base runner who was called out because of the catcher interference. There is, however, no caught stealing charge to Jackson, the runner. 2-2 delivery, and that will be taken away, and the count goes to 3-2.
Yeah, one of the rare changeups to get to pitch 100. They're very efficient. Only that 4th inning where they got the runs. Did his pitch count get over what, 15? Came in at about 17.5. Porcello at 15.2.
3-2. Close. Only the second walk of the ball game, but the other one was in the 4th inning and scored.
Well, the second leadoff walk. First time Kinsler scored, and this ball not close. Away maybe, but not down and in.
And again, 4, amazingly, despite what I told you, 4 out of the 8 innings, leadoff man's been on base.
Well, that's pretty much according to Hoyle. Yeah, he came in at 49%. Cheedy, the bullpen coach for the Orioles, talking to Buck Showalter, the skipper. I would imagine they might be bunting here.
Romine does square, tried to drop it, and fouled it right there at the plate. Avila will come back to first base. Romine has been called out on strikes, and he has popped out.
Yeah, hard enough to bunt because you don't do it very often, but when you bunt one about eye level, even harder.
That will move Manny Machado way in now at third base. Chris Davis will hold the bag at first. Squares, and the pitch is way up high. 1 ball, 1 strike. Tigers trying to manufacture one more run in the inning. Brad Ausmus with the calls over there, their young skipper. Norris ready with a 1-1. Bunted, foul. Kind of jumped at that one in a 1 ball, 2 strike count.
No, this time is a fastball right at the letters off the plate. Was somehow, and today Wayne Kirby trying to teach some of the Oriole pitchers that don't do a lot of hitting, because you do have the DH of where the bat has to be, and it doesn't matter whether you're a pitcher or a hitter, the bat has to be, the angle has to be where the barrel of the bat's higher than the handle, and it has to be out in home plate. Otherwise you bunt it in foul territory.
And that ball will be foul back. Today they came out early because of interleague play coming up.
Yeah, see, that's where they talk. See how the barrel is higher than the. Miguel Gonzalez says, I do not understand what you're saying. Boom, and then this is there we go. Now Zach Britton hit a home run in interleague a couple of years ago. Jimenez, he can hit a little bit inside out swing. There's a veteran pitcher. Mainly has a slow bat, but that's
1-2 popped up. Manny Machado will come over, have room, and put it away.
So that's a break for the Orioles. Romine, not a very good job of doing what a light hitting shortstop needs to do, get the runner over.
I don't know what to make of this, Jim. Romine is a switch hitter, but in the official stats put out by Major League Baseball, he's not given any at-bats left-handed. They don't even list him as a switch hitter. They've just got him hitting one way. So I don't know if that's the first time he's come up left-handed this year or not. Here's Rajah Davis. Davis 0 for 2 in the ball game, grounded out and flied out. Norris, Machado even with a bag at third, with a look to first. Norris, and that one is fouled back.
Bud's going to have to get some new spikes. He's slipping around, and what happens is you had Porcello, and then now you got Kroll, so there's more holes out there. You want to find where you push off, where you land, because if you can't push off and you can't land where you want, it's the difference sometimes of throwing the ball on the corner or in the middle of the plate.
And And that ball put up in the air to right field. Nick Markakis backing up on it with the runner halfway. So Norris comes right back after the leadoff walk, gets 2 down. I mean, what Buck Showalter's doing here, one, obviously likes the way Norris is throwing, but he's giving Norris a chance to be a winning pitcher in this ball game by allowing him to go here in the 8th inning.
Well, that's a great point, and it doesn't mean as much as it used to in my era, but this is, you used to, even we used to call them CGLs, complete game losses. You'd be on the road, you only pitch 8 innings because you get beat by a run or 2 or whatever the case might be, but it does give you a chance to pick up a win.
He's at a high now on the season in innings pitched, as he's gone 7 2/3, a season high for him, and it is his longest outing as an Oriole. 2 down, and the pitch down low for a ball. Here is Kinsler, a walk and a run scored. He is singled, 1 for 2. Also has picked up a stolen base. Albuquerque in the bullpen.
Yeah, this is where you got to be careful, because Kinsler, and we saw it earlier when he did get the base hit, one of the better high ball hitters.
And he'll take the strike.
It's all right to throw him fastballs. That was 1 in 93, but try to stay, inside middle. Really can get on it.
Avila's on at first base with a leadoff walk. Kinsler, a couple of hits lifetime and 7 at bats off Bud Norris, and that ball is going to disappear into the seats. Goodbye, home run. Maybe one batter too many. Ian Kinsler delivers the 2 RBI homer and changes the look of this game to 4-1.
Well, he's one of the better high ball hitters. If you've been around, you know that. And he gets it. You can almost predict this. If he's looking fastball, he gets it. You talked about it 2 innings ago. It seems like he kind of elevated the pitches, and that's what happens when you get a little bit tired.
Jim, let's take a look at our Lexus 1000 drive of the game.
Well, here it is, and it's belt high. And like I said, he can get on him with the best of them because he's looking for it. I mean, this ball is right about Detroit high. And in this ballpark, if you can pull it with authority, good chance to get it out of here.
And that is our drive of the game, brought to you by Lexus of Towson, the area's #1 Lexus dealer. Come see why at lexusofTowson.com. Dave Wallace, pitching coach, coming out. Kinsler gets his 4th home run, RBIs 18 and 19 on the year. Bud Norris surrendering his 6th home run of the season, his 2nd to a right-hander. The newest call-up, Preston Gilmet in the bullpen along with Darren O'Day. Gilmet just came up today with McFarland going down to AAA. Well, Kinsler, as he has done so often against the Orioles, came in with a .332 batting average against the Orioles. That's the 11th career home run he's had against the O's. And here is Torrey Hunter, an 0 for 3 in the ball game. 4-1 now. Tigers on top, and Hunter will foul that one off. Impact player of the game right now, along with Porcello, is Kinsler for the Tigers.
Well, you have to be as good as their starter, and Bud Norris, as good as he was, wasn't quite as good as Rick Porcello.
Ooh. And Hunter takes it and didn't like it.
Well, I don't blame him.
Comes after the home run, and he's got something to say to Norris, and Norris points at the plate. The dugout's empty. That is the 5th hit batter by Norris this year. It's not as though it's the first time. Bullpen's coming in.
Well, everybody runs on the field, and whether he meant it or not, I mean, Torrey Hunter, about as nice a guy as you can have, and he doesn't like to get plunked. And of course, Bud, the reason Dave Wallace, the Oriole pitching coach, went out after the home run is just to try to calm him down. And one of the worst things that can happen, you pitch a good game, you're trailing by a run, you give up a home run, emotionally, it's very easy to lose it, and then all of a sudden you're trying to stay out of that same zone because Hunter can do the kind of damage, and you end up hitting him, and it looks bad. Any way you look at it, he didn't try to do it. It's just it happens after a home run. It's pretty kind of normal, whether it's 2014 or back in 1950. You drill a guy after a guy takes you deep. A lot of times they think
there's an assumption there, isn't there?
Exactly.
So Norris talking to the crew chief, Bob Davidson, and still very upset. Buck Showalter's talking with a home plate umpire.
Well, they're going to warn both teams.
That's Davidson on the mound, the crew chief walking away. And Norris is coming out of the ball game anyway.
Yeah, but not only by hitting Hunter, you get Cabrera to the plate. So you know he probably didn't mean to do it on purpose, but it looks bad. And again, pitch count up there around 110. You have to make a change.
And he's still hollering at him, and Hunter's coming over. Hunter's coming over towards him. As he went into the dugout, words were exchanged, and Hunter started over towards the Orioles dugout.
Well, they just ought to get Bud Norris down into the locker room because, I was talking to one of his former general managers, and, I mean, it's an emotional time. You pitch well, but you're probably not going to win this game, and it's easy to sometimes lose your emotions. And, of course, Hunter's not happy because he got drilled. Just let it go.
Buck Showalter coming back out. Why is he sitting on the bench?
Yeah.
Torrey Hunter with kind words. Sorry.
Yeah.
You could probably read his lips. I can't repeat it, but it was pretty clear what he was saying. Say it again.
Well, how many guys telling you they're going to beat you up with a smile on their face?
He's almost laughing while he's saying it over there. But Showalter trying to get his bullpen back now. And also with Gilmet coming in, he wants to be on the mound as he comes on and give him the baseball. Well, two division leaders, you got to have some fire if you're going to do that, and a little fire in this one. And obviously for Bud Norris, very upset, pitching a great ball game, and then here in the 8th inning, stung for the home run by Kinsler, and then hitting Hunter. So Hunter will be on at first base, and the Tigers doing what the Orioles have done so often, and that's come up big with 2 outs. Leadoff walk to Avila, then there were 2 away when Kinsler came up and delivered the homer, and Hunter getting hit by pitch. So we'll get a chance to see the newest acquisition of the Orioles, putting up big minor league numbers that Buck Showalter talked about before the ball game today.
Yeah, he's got a big overhand exaggerated windup, Preston Gilmet, and I saw Buck Showalter when they signed him. I mean, he had on his iPad, so those are the numbers this year down in Norfolk, and then he did pitch with Cleveland in the big leagues. And he has a big breaking ball to go with the fastball, and some experience as a closer. Not that he'll assume that role here. So you can see him mentioning that's a little bit of a slider.
And our Jiffy Lube change is good, especially when it's your oil getting changed at Jiffy Lube. Give your vehicle relief with regular oil changes at Jiffy Lube. It helps stretch the life of your engine. For Gilmet, he's got a 20-15 record with 94 saves in 6 seasons in the minors. A great 2.71 ERA out of the University of Arizona. All of that coming with the Cleveland Indians organization in the minors. The Orioles got him in a trade in April for Torsten Boss and the deal with Cleveland. And before the ball game, Buck Showalter talked about the new reliever.
There's not going to be many of these 24 pitchers that are here tonight that have a better minor league resume than he does. I'm sure y'all have looked at it. And he's carried it over there. So, he's only had really, one transition to the big leagues, one opportunity. So, we were fortunate, hopefully, to trade for him. Got a pitcher like that with that background with options are hard to find.
And the options is the important part because we already saw that with T.J. McFarland. He pitches yesterday, helps the bullpen stay where it needs to be, rested, and then all of a sudden you can bring somebody up, and the options allow you to, if he doesn't pitch well, or even if he does pitch well, you get to send him back to AAA.
And the delivery is taken for a strike by Cabrera. There's the line on Bud Norris.
So again, the home run and a couple of walks, and he really pitched well. One of the better games he's pitched. As we know, sometimes it's not how you pitch, sometimes it's when. No run support, 1 run. Priscilla was better.
Fouled away by Cabrera. Cabrera's had an RBI base hit, robbed of a hit by Hardy his last time up, 1 for 3 in the ballgame. Corey Guillemette, his major league debut was in July of 2013 with the Indians against Toronto, 2/3 of an inning. He appeared in 4 games for the Indians, no record. 5 innings pitched, 6 earned runs. That's his major league line. And so he comes on here for the Orioles, and who's he get to face? Cabrera.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, he's playing.
They're still looking at each other. Norris in the Orioles dugout coming out. Hunter at first base. 0-2 the count with 2 down. And it'll be down to third and foul. Oh, the Tigers now with 4 runs on 5 hits. Very efficient in what they've done with their base runners. The Orioles a run on 6 hits in the ball game. Only 1 left on by the Tigers so far, and that was back in that 4th inning. Orioles have left 6. 0-2 delivery. Cabrera takes it. Almost touched the ball, and then remembered there's a runner at first base. He was trying to pick it up. 1-2.
Well, he got ahead of him, but does he have the repertoire to be able to strike him out, or throw something just off the outside corner or inside corner, and preferably down.
Down to third base. Manny Machado, the big hop force at second base. Jonathan Scope, a nice play to come up with the ball. So that will do it here. A couple of runs. The home run, Dave Wallace making sure Bud leaves before Hunter passes by. 4-1 Tigers. And they'll go to the bullpen. Kroll worked an inning, gave up 1 hit, and Albuquerque to pitch.
So the back end of the bullpen, Joe Nathan, the closer, and Albuquerque with a great slider. You can see a lot of strikeouts, and ERA higher than it was last year. Terrific year for him last year. Did have some elbow problems, but he's averaging since 2011 almost 13 strikeouts per inning. And when he's healthy, he can really help the back end of your bullpen.
And Albuquerque will work to the Orioles. Manny Machado, Jones, and Davis due up in the 8th inning. Albuquerque pitched against the Twins yesterday. 2/3 of an inning, a hit, and a run. Four to 1 lead for the Tigers. Base hit, 1 for 3 in the ball game for Manny Machado, and he'll go after the first pitch and pop it up to short. Roman. And as promised earlier in the game, our AT&T fan photo. A couple of young ladies enjoying the ballpark and the summer weather, which has arrived here in Baltimore.
Before the rain showers.
We'll bring up Adam Jones. Jones with the 1 for 3 in the ball game.
Well, will Adam bunt his way on if they're going to play him? Castellanos really deep. We've seen him do that when you're down by 3. And put that past him. Certainly giving it to him.
He's faced Albuquerque only once and has an 0 for 1 against the Tiger right-hander. The delivery, and Jones will take the breaking ball. It will be in there for a strike. Albuquerque has worked against the Orioles historically 5 games. They've hit him pretty good, 357 clip with the limited at bats. Jones will take the pitch outside. 2 ball, 1 strike count. We understand Bud Norris was ejected by Jim Hoy, the home plate umpire, in that conversation that went on. Don't know if it was for actually hitting Hunter or for what transpired after, but he was thrown out of the ball game.
Well, maybe that's why Dave Wallace escorted him out. If you're thrown out,
He shouldn't have been
on the bench. No,
if that was the case, he shouldn't have been in the dugout while the game was going on. 2 ball, 2 strike count, and a swing and a miss.
Yeah, so back-to-back sliders. He throws you 93 to 95, and then one good slider, and then one that backs up. Back-up slider, you think it's going to break, and it just keeps spinning. And you swing sometimes swing right through it. And under it, you can see him really drop at the pitcher's mound. Even if you're a drop and drive guy, you want to drop and drive and throw the ball on the way. Boy, when you drop right at the pitching rubber, really changes the angle. Not a good one to have, but he gets away with it.
Chris Davis with the 0 for 3 in the ball game, and he takes it for a strike. Albuquerque was touched up by the Orioles in Detroit. Worked only an inning, gave up 2 runs on 4 hits in one of those 3 ball games in Detroit, where the Tigers took 2 out of 3. 0-1 the count on Davis. Shift on in the infield, and Chris will take it up high. Davis getting his first look at Albuquerque. 1 ball, 1 strike. And Chris will swing, and a 1-2 count. It's bullpen for the Tigers. That's been a problem. 13th in ERA. They've given up a lot of hits. Almost a hit per inning in their relief work. They haven't walked anybody. And a swing and a foul tip, and that one got a piece of Avila.
Yeah, another slider, and he's just able to stay alive, but when he hits it down, comes right up.
That's why catchers so often keep that backhand behind their body, but when the swing's going, you bring it out to help catch the ball. And Davis will fight that one off.
That's why it's so sometimes tough to hit, too. Foul balls off your kneecaps, your toes, your hands, your wrists. There is the closer.
Tomorrow night, game 2, Ubaldo Jimenez and Drew Smiley. 6:30 O's extra, 7 o'clock the ball game. 1-2 delivery on the way to Davis, and it's up high. So the count goes to 2-2. Orioles need base runners here in the 8th inning. 2 down. Davis will take it, and it goes full. 3 balls and 2 strikes.
Yeah, they're hoping they'll get the free pass.
Right-handers 3-2 delivery, and Davis will go down swinging. So Albuquerque comes on. He picks up a couple of strikeouts. 3 up and 3 down. We go to the 9th inning. Tigers 4 and the Orioles 1. Baseball on Masson, brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Find Southwest Airlines fares online only at southwest.com. And by Ocean City, Maryland. Put your vacation days to good use in Ocean City, Maryland. Book now at ococean.com. Gary Thorne and Jim Palmer with you here at Camden Yards. Delayed about a half an hour with the rain before we get the ball game started, but it has moved along. And the Tigers have the 4-1 lead. Preston Guillemette on the mound for the Orioles, just being called up today. He will work here in the top of the 9th inning. Martinez, Jackson, Castellanos. Martinez, single double, and he is flied out. So he has kept his numbers going against the Orioles. 300 hitter, lifetime. Pitch is in there for a strike. That's some interesting numbers from Baseball Reference today. I was just looking to see how going into 6 weeks the offenses were doing. They've been down around Major League Baseball for the last few years, and they're down again. Teams are averaging 8.5 hits a ball game. That's the lowest in 72. In innings 7, 8, and 9, over the last 55 years, the worst averages in those years have occurred in each of the last 4 years. And this year's even worse, 240 average Major League batting average in innings 7, 8, and 9. Runner in scoring position numbers the worst since 1960, and the scoring average in a Major League ball game is the lowest since 1992.
Yeah, home runs down at .88 per game, lowest since 1992. So
where the numbers continue to fall offensively. Here's the 0-2 delivery on the way, and that'll be down the line in left field, out of play.
So what, 154 games, 597 times where he didn't take a called strike. You know Victor Martinez will be swinging.
And somehow continues to put the bat on the ball even when down. Here's the 0-2 delivery. Guillemette gets him!
There you go.
Lordy!
Oh,
called third strike.
It's an epidemic. Twice in a week. You almost go a year, and then, I mean, this is a really good changeup. It filters down in the inside corner. Of course, he didn't see him, and he thinks it might stay inside. The rear end goes out a little bit. And Jim Hoy with the right hand.
So gets the called third strike. And that will bring up Jackson. Jackson has had a sac fly RBI, fielder's choice, and been called out on strikes. .296 average on the year for the outfielder, and the pitch from Guillemette is there for a strike.
Yeah, he started, as you mentioned, with the Indians. He was up in the New York Penn League, and he was a starter. 15 starts, and then right to the bullpen the next since then. That was back in 2009, and And all of a sudden, a little different pitcher. 11, 35, 24, 20 saves over the next 4 years.
He has been the closer at those levels in the major leagues, in the minor leagues rather. Ground ball to Hardy. JJ up.
Yeah, that's kind of like a change-up splitter. And we said Miguel Gonzalez, who starts for the Orioles, has one, and it's a great ground ball pitch, great strikeout pitch. So that may be the pitch that, when he needs a double play ball, he's able to do. And he's got to, it's kind of demonstrative over the top, but he does keep his chin and his left shoulder, which is your steering wheel. They stay together. Just to kind of watch right here. I mean, he tucks it right there, and then right over the top, and there's another split change.
Castellanos.
Yeah.
He's had an 0 for 3 in the ball game, including a couple of strikeouts for the third baseman. 0-1 count. We're in the 9th inning. Tigers have a 4-1 lead. Over the top pitch, and that too is going to be in there for a strike.
And you can see he's not going to light up the radar gun. 90, 91. First fastball of the evening was 89. But again, those other pitches, your secondary pitches. And there's a slider. Well, he's got 3 of them. And you want to make friends with your manager and your pitching coach, throw strikes. And quality strikes.
Here's the 1-2 delivery on the way, and that will miss outside, down low. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
He appears to be taller than 6'2". I mean, right over your front side, and he stays straight enough. It looks like he falls off, but remember Kevin Appier, but his lines are pretty good.
2-2 got him. So Gilmet puts on a show. He gets a couple of strikeouts in the inning, retires the 4 batters that he faces, and the first time out as an Oriole. Bottom of the 9th coming up.
Well, Bud Norris pitched an outstanding ball game. Gave up a 2-run home run late in this ball game in that 8th inning. Yeah, both of those walks ended up scoring, Tom, but outside of that, one of his best efforts. The Orioles, not much offense tonight, 6 hits, although they've out-hit the Tigers. They haven't put any runs on the board coming up in the bottom of the 9th. We're looking for at least 3.
Let's go back upstairs to Gary and Jim.
All right, Tom and Rick will stand by as we will get a look at the Tiger closer here in the bottom of the 9th inning.
Yeah, so you can see the, if you look at Joe Nathan at 39, probably 3-4 years ago before Tommy John surgery, probably would have been close to 60, 70 with a hard slider. Now he's got a curveball and a slider. So 7 out of 9. I mean, he's coming off a 2-year deal that he signed with him. They were looking for somebody to solidify the 9th inning role. 43 saves last year for Texas. Year before 37, and he comes into the season now with 348 lifetime saves. So he's going to throw a lot of strikes. Last year, I mean, he had one of those incredible years, as we mentioned. When he did throw the ball over the plate, they put it in play. The league only hit 229 balls off the bat in play, and that's a really low number.
Nathan had a save in the series in Detroit. 1 for 1 there, 2/3 of an inning. He did give up a run on a couple of hits in that ball game. Overall, he's been perfect against the Orioles. 12 for 12 in save opportunities with a 2.08 ERA and a 2.0 record against the Orioles in his career. So the Orioles will work against him here in the bottom of the 9th inning. Cruz, Hardy, and Clevenger will be due up. Porcello, the pitcher of record, a chance to go 6-1 for the Tigers. And he didn't hurt the starter ERA of 2.73 coming in. That's for all starters. In the air to center field. Jackson will back up. And a pitch and an out here in the 9th inning.
You know, Rick Porcello, Kroll struggled a little bit with his command, but I'm sure Jeff Jones telling a veteran or a young pitcher like Porcello at 25, throw strike one, and have done a nice job of it tonight.
Bud Norris, who gave up the 4 runs and 5 hits over 7 2/3, would take the loss. He would be 2-3. And this is a save situation for Nathan. He's 7 out of 9, as Jim said. And a strike on the outside corner. Hardy's had a single, a run scored, 1 for 3. Clevenger, the RBI, a double in the 2nd inning. That's been it for the Orioles. Clevenger has been their offensive spark. He's gone 3 for 3, 2 doubles and a single in the ball game. Nick Markakis' 18-game hit streak, unless he gets another chance, will be gone. Nick an 0 for 4 in the ball game. Nathan's got the 0-2 count on Hardy. Right-hander's pitch, and that'll be in the dirt.
Yeah, still one of the great trades, A.J. Pierzynski going from the Twins over to San Francisco, and then the Twins get Liriano and Nathan after he had been 12-4 out of the bullpen, 78 games, and that was back in 2003. And then he 44, 43, 47 saves. I mean, he became the back end of a very good Twins team.
Set up outside on Hardy, the 1-2 delivery. That's where the ball went. Romine to Cabrera, and 2 down here in the bottom of the 9th.
Yeah, he used to throw probably mid-90s. You know, so the fastball tonight, 91, but a little slider, located it well, and JJ off the end of the bat for the ground ball.
All time for Nathan, the opponent batting average, believe it or not, is .202.
Well, he can make some pitches. Oof. You know, a big guy. I mean, got to be 6'5", 6'6". Actually, they got him listed at 6'4", 230. So, but can you throw over your front side? And he does.
Well, we'll go to left field off the bat of Clevenger, and this ball game is over. Roger Davis puts it away, and the Detroit Tigers will take the first of 3 here at Camden Yards as they come away with a 4-1 win. Porcello 6-1, Norris 2-3, and the save goes to Nathan. And game 2 will be coming up tomorrow. Ubaldo Jimenez takes the mound against Drew Smiley. Our coverage at 6:30 on Masson with O's Extra presented by Geico, followed by our game action at 7. This has been a Masson presentation. Tom and Rick standing by. O's Extra presented by PNC is coming up right now. On behalf of Jim Palmer and all of our crew here at Camden.